What a lovely comment.
Yeah,
I'm going to share it with everybody.
Oh, Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I hear music in my studio. There we go. What's up, guys? You guys did it. You wrapped up a Friday for us in epic fashion, and I so was not prepared for it. I honestly, it's kind of hard to process. And I love the gentleman who reached out to me with a private email, and he said, look, you had 13,500 people watching live. Dan Bongino had 130,000. I'm like, really? Come on. Is that for real? 10 times our audience watched that guy, which is fine, whatever. But then he said, you guys got 4,000 rumbles and he got 7,500. He's like, so he's got 10 times your audience and less than half of your rumbles. You've got an army. And I was like, that is the coolest. So thank you, guys. Thank you for being a part of it. What's going on? Where's everybody from? Enjoy watching
The
where you
producer's
guys...
booth.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Let's see what's going on. We got Cranberry. Hello, C. Waltmeyer.
Are we not going to talk about the other life-changing experience that happened Friday?
What happened? Oh, Brock got his first pedicure. Mm-hmm.
Guys.
I'm just telling you.
To the men out there.
You need to, yes.
You need to go.
You need to go.
You need to go. I put socks and shoes on my feet twice this weekend.
Mm.
Both times I left the house. Other than that.
Yeah. The best.
Oh.
And there's a residual lingering goodness.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Life changing.
So thanks to our friends at Styles by Cardamone, Annette Cardamone, the owner. We love her and we love all of them.
Take all my man points. I don't care. Darius, I don't care. I don't.
Yeah.
I was made fun of everywhere I went by every man.
Oh, no. Sailor Jake is saying that you should get some huevos back. I don't know. I think he's fine. Hoof trimming, yes. Otmar, you're right. Hoof trimming.
Hoof trimming. I did tip her pretty well. I was like, you have to touch my feet. But the worst part was, I pull out my puppies, and she says, oh, these aren't bad. I've seen women worse. I'm like, a little throw up in my mouth. Like, I expect dudes to have nasty feet. But
I'll tell you guys all about his his man purse later, because I'm sure that's next.
I don't. Wow.
We'll make it a little strappy for you for easy access.
Okay.
You can put your gun in there, like
steel trap. I'll remember that steel trap.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, Texas. What's going on? Oh, you like my hair? Thanks, Linda. You know, I had a bunch chopped off. I have to for television. It's too much of a pain in the neck. So I decided to do it like this for you today. Whatever.
I combed mine just for a neck.
He had some product
just in case.
Like.
Just in case.
You didn't something about Mariesh, did you?
Oh, God, Jesus.
No, it's some product. Okay.
It's product. Thank you.
Ew. Open.
No.
Oh, wait.
Just in case she watches to check and see if I comb my hair, I'm like, I better do it for. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah.
Blue. We got blue. So I'm channeled, and it's supposed to be like 70 odd degrees today. So I hear the curls trying to spring. Yeah. Come on, Beebs. You do not hear my curls trying to come back. Though if there was any moisture, I'd be like, yes. Oh, my God. My hair is not thick. Angle of light. No, it is not. It is all.
It doesn't. I told you this before.
It's an illusion.
Straight like that doesn't look like. You know how they used to have the anchor hair? And they'd part it here and it'd come down and like it looked like Darth Vader's helmet without the front. It doesn't look like that, so it's not too bad.
Wow.
It looks. Here, watch this. It looks fine.
You prefer my curls. Well, I get it. We like to keep you on your toes, right?
I'm far from metrosexual.
We're going to keep you.
This is as close as it gets.
When will Brock lick Wendy's chose for charity? Did you guys see that?
No, yes, and no.
Is that so disgusting?
Yes.
Brock sent it to me. What was that?
It was for a school fundraiser, licking peanut butter off the teacher's toes and stuff.
I was like, that is so disgusting.
Yeah.
Why would it's another blurring of the line of just like,
why is this okay?
ew, that's not okay in your private life.
Hey, you do what you want to do in your private life.
Whatever.
You throw your puppies at me, I'm slapping you.
Don't worry about it.
You keep those dogs to yourself.
Mine stay specifically over on this side.
Yeah,
that is
you
gross.
keep your pups to yourself.
Sandark, you're right. Gross.
But I want to know who thought that was a good idea. Who said, you know what? We should have students lick teachers' toes.
Too much toe
Great
talk.
idea. We'll raise a ton of money.
Kinship quest. Too much toe talk.
It was so disturbing.
I agree.
It's so disturbing.
Hey, at least we all agree on this morning, right? Thanks for being here, you guys. If you are new, remember we're a radio show, so we have to talk during the commercial breaks, which we are in. But let's go, baby.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we are converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hello, America, and beyond the fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. We are so excited to be here to begin another busy broadcasting week of excellence for you. If you're new, Wendy Bell Radio Network app, follow along on the live stream. Join us on Newsmax's free platform, N2, on your TVs to see the final 2 hours of the show. The Wendy Bell Radio podcast, you're always welcome to get that. 2 million people and counting already have. We're just delighted, no matter how you find us, that you keep coming on back because we believe in common sense conservative values. That is what we serve up 5 days a week. Welcome to each of you. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. I don't turn it off over the weekend. We're always looking for stories, always staying aware of what's going on, paying attention to the trends, staying on top of social media. And there was a video that popped up in one of my news feeds that hit me yesterday morning at about 5 a.m. And I was not prepared for it, and I had not seen it. In fact, it was from 2021 because I started doing some research on it. And I started watching it the first time with the volume down. And it's somebody driving in what looks like a truck on a very barren landscape, looks like the southern border, has to be Texas, Arizona, something like that. And the person behind the wheels driving, holding the phone, showing the view in front of him as this little figure shows up on the horizon. As the truck gets ever closer to it, it's a little boy. And he was walking all by himself. And you know that cry that you cry when it's uncontrollable and you can't stop it. And it's like that. It was a little boy, 10 years old, who'd been left behind all by himself by the cartels or whomever he had walked across wherever with. And he was alone in a barren landscape with No one around him as far as he could see. And desperately sees the truck, comes over to it and says, please, I'm scared. I don't know where they went. I'm all by myself. I'm worried they're going to come. They're going to hurt me. They're going to kidnap me. And I'm so scared. I lost it. Now it's in Spanish, so there are subtitles. And I was sitting there reading this. He could be anybody's son. He could be mine. He could be yours. Left all by himself. But it was his face and the panic and the fear in his eyes, and it was just too much. And it haunted me all day long, and I had to go outside, and I had to work in the yard, pick up sticks. I mean, stupid, I'm picking up sticks because I can't shake it. This is what they've done. This is what these people who claim to be all about fairness and justice and equity and peace and opportunity, it's all garbage. It's all garbage. And little boys like that are the collateral damage. And who even knows what happened to him on his way here? And the thing that kills me is that for all the problems that we have in this country, all of these things that are spiraling out of control, that are tenuous, we have a new call now from the global jihadi faction of suck in the world during Ramadan to crank up the heat and to start doing things in our country against us. As haywire as all of that is, the little boy's parents, whatever they were going through, wherever he's from, and I think it's Honduras, it was worse. They were willing to roll the dice on their child to have him come to this country by himself. What are we doing? And I would be lying to you if I didn't think about that little boy last night. 6 of the 7 of us, our last son's still in college, comes home in a couple months. The 6 of us went out for dinner for our oldest son's birthday. We went to a hibachi restaurant, steakhouse, where they cook right in front of you. It's the one place we all love, can agree on anything on the menu, and it seems like no matter what, the minute we sit down, it's just fun. We get out of the car, and I purposefully linger a little bit. Some problem with my car. The boys start walking in because sometimes I just like to walk behind them all. I like to see these creatures that are part of me. And they're tall and they're strong and they're handsome and they're funny and they're smart. And sometimes I don't have words to describe it. I just watch. And sometimes they'll catch me and they'll be like, ooh, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, you have no idea how much I love you. And to think about that little boy. How many of those children are now missing in our country? And every single day, we have the same clowns standing before us telling us, no, this isn't a problem. No, this is the Republicans' fault if it is a problem. This is Donald. Look, I don't care whose freaking fault it is. Fix the damn problem. No more. How about the video with the Texas rancher? Did you guys see that on your social media feed? A guy who's a 4th generation Texas rancher. 10 miles of his property is along the border. 6 of those miles have wall built. 4 do not. He's up to 17 dead bodies found on his property. 17. And he detailed a big tree on his property that he calls the rape tree, because so many of the cartels have raped women and children there. And they leave an article of clothing on the branches as almost a trophy of every conquest. What are we doing? What are we doing? And in other headlines today, we have crazy things going on. There's a huge fire in Texas. More than 1 million acres already burned. 10 million cattle in the line of this fire. We have another train derailment. How many more do we have to go? And we have an administration that wants us to believe that, no, everything is great. They're doing everything that they can. Friends, we are living through a chapter of American ineptitude, the likes of which I don't even know if I can describe. I feel. And I can taste it when I look at that boy. And he's the one who made it, who was found. What about all the others? We are in a real struggle as human beings. It's not just as a country, it's as humanity. And it goes way deeper than exterior qualities. It's not dependent on your skin. It's not dependent on your zip code or how you vote. It is a true battle of good versus evil. And the most innocent and precious among us are being swept up as the collateral damage. And this administration refuses to admit that. Today, we're going to walk through several of these stories. It's important to know exactly who is saying what, on what side of pivotal issues people stand. Because for me, it took one little boy to look at this crisis in a deeper way. It's not just an invasion of people who are bogging down our resources and putting a lot of us in strange positions. It's little children. And if we can't get behind that, and we can't protect them, then what are we? We are nothing. When we come back, this is the eve of a big political day in this country, Super Tuesday. Some big things over the weekend we need to talk about. We'll get on track and on that political mindset. But under every story is the memory of that little boy and what we're really fighting for. You're dialed into the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Back after this. Wasn't expecting that. Sometimes I just got to get it out, folks, and then once it's out, I can proceed. Proceed. Woo!
The airing of the grievances has been done.
That just has stuck with me for too long now. So I beg your pardon, but I don't.
Yeah, that's whole sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
Is the Steve Garvey race today?
Oh, I don't know the answer to that.
Did they vote? George, if you're on the app.
Oh, George.
Yeah.
We got our little bells.
Is Brock the best? Yes.
Wrong.
Wow.
I'll get my "you're fired" button out. George, that was great. It's almost like you pay attention to what we talk about.
All I'm going to say is that dinging of the bell.
Fake news.
Hey, I want to tell you quickly about CB Distillery. I'm delighted that they're back for a whole week this week. I feel so strongly about the folks at CB Distillery. I've had a great opportunity to speak with them about their process, about their products, about CBD in general, using extracts from hemp plant for medicinal value. I mean, people have known about this for thousands of years, and now finally we get to benefit from these extracts, all natural products that do a wonderful job of helping soothe sore muscles, helping you to relax, stay calm, Fall Asleep, Stay Asleep. These are all products that are at your fingertips at cbdistillery.com. What they do is special. You can get 20% off right now, if I'm not mistaken, 20% off cbdistillery.com if you use my name, Wendy, right? And just go in there and shop around a little bit, see what they offer. They've changed some of the formulations. So the bottles that Brock and I have changed. The materials inside have not. They are from nature and they are amazing. So whether it's the oil like I use, the roll-on that he uses, so you don't have to get CBD stuff on your fingers, even though it smells good.
Sleep gummies.
The sleep gummies, all of it at your fingertips, cbdistillery.com, promo code Wendy, 20% off. They often have great sales there. So if you just fly around and check it out, you're going to find something pretty fantastic. This is an interesting poll we just found.
We're an editor's pick.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you to our friends at Rumble for that.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Yes, and if you are listening in California, please vote for Steve Garvey because
Yes.
Adam Schiff is just a shizzle show.
Mm-hmm. So we got some new polling out, and the polls are interesting. You know how I feel about it. It is a great gauge of where people are, but I don't believe in them. I wouldn't bank on them. I certainly wouldn't bet on them. But the New York Times has put Donald Trump ahead with his biggest lead yet. And I think it's all the swing states, and I think he's plus 5 nationally, which is remarkable. But I need you to hear this because this is how they spin the story. And it's interesting when you start paying attention to how the media manipulate the news to create the illusion of whatever the uniparty is asking for, because it's propaganda. So it's not that Joe Biden is incompetent. It's not that every single thing that his fingers touch turns to crap, right? It's not the steady, predictable decline in our way of life, in what we view as life as Americans. It's just because he's unpopular. Trump is doing well because Joe Biden is unpopular. Not that Trump's policies from 17 to 20, were great. It's not that. It's that Joe Biden is just very unpopular. I want you to hear this. Big change between the 2020 and 2024 races. The New York Times headline says today, Joe Biden is unpopular. Really? Donald Trump has the largest national lead in a New York Times poll since first running for president in 2015. And I'm just going to read to you the first 4 paragraphs, just so you know this is how they present you the news. And then they scratch their head. Why are subscribers going down? Why is nobody watching our news product anymore? What's going on? Because we're so on to you and we're so tired of what you do to manipulate. So this is the New York Times. This is a Times Siena poll showing Donald Trump, biggest lead since 2015. And it starts with this, let's just say it. Joe Biden should be expected to win this election. He's an incumbent president running for re-election with a reasonably healthy economy against an unpopular opponent accused of multiple federal crimes. Well, that's factually, first of all, yes, it's correct about the crimes that he's accused of, federal crimes. But he is not even remotely unpopular. See, this is going to be the narrative that they're going to try now that Nikki Haley, we're going to talk about her coming up in the next segment. She's finally gotten her first win. Her first win, shocker, shocker, in D.C. Is anybody surprised by this? No, it was like hundreds of people who voted. So what? They're going to try to spin this again and again and again. Donald Trump isn't actually able to beat Joe Biden, but Nikki Haley is. Well, we'll hit the brakes on that, ladies and gentlemen. Yet Biden is not winning, this says, at least not now. Polls show him trailing in states worth well over 270 electoral votes. And today, he lags Donald J. Trump in our newest New York Times Siena College national poll by 5 percentage points among registered voters. 48 to 43. What they're not telling you is that's giant. It's not Joe Biden's unpopularity. It is his destruction of these United States. Largest lead Trump has ever had in a Times Siena College poll. In fact, it's the largest lead he's had in a Times Siena poll since 2015. Why is President Biden losing? Well, there are many possible reasons, it says, including his age, the war in Gaza, the border, lingering concerns over inflation. Ultimately, they add up to something very simple. Mr. Biden is very unpopular. He's so unpopular, he's now even less popular than Mr. Trump, who remains every bit as unpopular as he was 4 years ago. Now, I find this narrative very funny because what they won't bring up is any of the issues that Joe Biden faces with his crime family syndicate. They won't bring up all of the millions of dollars. They won't bring up all of the loan repayment checks. They won't bring up the whistleblowers, the testimony. They won't bring up any of the facts about the suspicious activity reports, all of the shell companies, the 9 Biden family members who've gotten relatively wealthy thanks to Joe and Hunter and James Biden. Well, now, why wouldn't you do that? Of course, everyone knows what is going on. President Biden's unpopularity, it says, has flipped the expected dynamic of this election. It's turned what looked like a seemingly predictable rematch into a race with no resemblance to the 2020 election, when Mr. Biden was a broadly appealing candidate. Did you guys get that broadly appealing candidate vibe out of Joe Biden whatsoever? Because what I remember is the dude stayed in the basement because they knew well, even then, about his dementia. They kept him under wraps. They bubble wrapped him. They protected him. And then when time came for the election, they ballot harvested like freaking Olympic champions. That is the difference. Overall, 19% of registered voters in the Times Siena survey have an unfavorable view of both candidates. It's a group sometimes referred to as double haters. Listen to the narrative begin to unfold about this next chapter. Nikki Haley ain't going anywhere. Tomorrow's Super Tuesday, right? Tomorrow she's going to get clobbered. She's going to be asked about that pledge when it was clear that you had no path to victory. You had to sign a pledge that said, hey, I will support and I will endorse. I will get behind whomever the nominee that the party chooses is. She signed that. She will not abide by that because the dark money, the uniparty, the establishment, the DC elite, the swamp creatures, the Beltway, all of it, plus Democrats, will drag her through as long as it takes. All the while, painting Donald Trump as old and unfavorable and distasteful and nobody wants him. But it's so funny that over here on this other side, I see Trump leads Biden among Hispanics. Registered voters overall. Did you know that 46% of Hispanics polled over the weekend say they want Donald Trump? So there is a moment of truth these people in the media are going to have to come to grips with because the narrative isn't going to hold for long. It's not going to age well because this plan, right, that we're a part of is full steam ahead. When we come back, let's talk about some of the voices about the news. You got to hear about, oh boy, we'll dial you into the stories of the day coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. So you got 600 more people who voted for Nikki Haley yesterday in D.C. than voted for Donald Trump. And they want you to believe that that's a victory, that that's going to derail Donald Trump, that things now on Tuesday, tomorrow, are going to be a little more tenuous. 600 people is not a landslide, friends. It's predictable. It's Washington, D.C.
I'm surprised there were any Republicans voting.
Did you know that in a city of like 680,000 people, how many registered Republicans do you think there are?
Maybe 20,000. Maybe.
You know what? You're real close. I heard it this morning. It's like 19.
Oh.
It's like 19,000. Is that crazy?
Did I ruin it again?
No, not at all. So we're gonna talk about this whole DC disconnect because they're gonna want you to believe Nikki Haley, she's on the cusp. Oh, this is it. This is the moment. Come on. This is where the establishment, rhinos, and MAGA split. And hopefully it's for good. Hopefully it's for good because I'm done. Oh my heavens, am I excited about this? All right. Bioptimizers. You guys know that I've spoken lovingly about these people. I love taking Bioptimizer. It's a capsule, and you can take two a day, I think. I take one. And to tell you what it does to my ability to fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up rested, it is life-changing. And I invite you to go to bioptimizers.com/bell, and you're going to get a nice little discount there, okay? Listen to this. If you are feeling tired, if you have a hard time shutting off your mind, if you have a hard time staying asleep at night, if you have a hard time waking up, feeling rested, overall, you're just like, bleh. This is amazing because it's all about magnesium. With all of the problems you have to take care of, this is one of those solutions that can come in a very natural way and give you the benefit that you need to be able to turn it off, okay? Nobody takes care of you. You need to take care of you. And that's why I love this product. Magnesium Breakthrough is what it's called, okay? Magnesium Breakthrough. It's an all-natural supplement that helps you reduce fatigue and sleep more peacefully. It even strengthens muscle and improves your heart and brain function. I need to take a double dose. While most magnesium supplements aren't full spectrum, Magnesium Breakthrough is the only supplement that has all 7 essential types of magnesium. Had no idea there were that many. I can tell you it works. Give it like 3 days and then call me and tell me how you sleep. Imagine having the strength and the energy to get out of bed every morning and face the day boldly, courageously, and restfully. That is what Bioptimizers gives you. Bioptimizers, it's bio, it looks like bio, but it's bioptimizers.com/bell. And you're going to unlock some special offers with that. I'm not going to tell you what they are. You got to go there and get it. It's worthwhile. You can believe me. Worthwhile. All right, what do we have? This is big with Hispanics. I got to say, 6-point lead, Trump. They've done everything except the Hispanic vote here is, I think, far more conservative than the Democrats give them credit for. 48-43 over Biden, 46-40 with Latinos. It's awesome. What are you sighing for?
Nothing.
Almost 11,000. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're great that you're here. We're grateful that you're here. All right, let's see what we got going on. Hi, Sherry. Good to have you. Hi, Demanda. Box. Ross Boyd. Great to have you guys. Thank you. Oh, there you go, Brock. Thank you. Their stuff is, I'm just going to tell you, it's worthwhile. This story that I have at 11, remember we told you on Friday about the gentleman who's a reporter for Blaze Media? There's a reason why today's show is called Shackled and Chained, because it's really how the government sees you if you're not 100% down with whatever they want. We also have an Amos Miller update for you.
He's getting screwed.
Oh, yes. I was wondering where you were going with that. He is getting screwed. Yes, of course, which is...
For anyone out there, take Amos Miller's name out of it and put any name there. How about this? Don't even put a name there. Say the government is coming and taking over control of a farm. That's wrong. There's no martyr. It's the same thing with Donald Trump. Take his name out of it. Take Donald Trump out of the picture. What's happening is wrong.
Yes, doesn't matter. Yeah.
And if anyone doesn't want to come forward and say out loud, this is just wrong, the situation is wrong,
yep,
that's on them.
Yep.
Sorry.
I mean, that was how I felt about the little boy video I saw. Like, I've by and large, I've been able to compartmentalize my feelings about the people coming across, because we can get lost in the numbers and the threats and the awful stuff, but there's little boys like that.
Listen, everybody's just tired of the incompetence of every from the local
Yeah.
to the federal.
Yes.
We're tired of the incompetence and the quietness
Yes.
that people. Oh, now I need it.
I feel the same way. It's true.
This is why people hate government.
So today's idea in your mind for today's theme, if you will, is shackled and chained. There's a lot going on in this country right now, in this administration, that is based on optics, right? There are a lot of things that can be accomplished without a lot of show, without pomp and circumstance, without the SWAT team, the FBI rolling in hot in the middle of the night to shake you down at your house. There's nuance, there's a correct way to do things, and then there's this administration's way of doing things. It is punitive. It is meant to be embarrassing. It is meant to create the illusion of discrediting someone. And unfortunately, it works for some people because they are woefully ill-informed. They are products of drive-by headlines. They are the disciples of CNN, the Washington Post. They get a very biased viewpoint. And every day that we do this program, we are opening the door to chip away at that audience and say, you know what, maybe you've been wrong. Because everywhere I look around this administration, there is incompetence. Let's just talk off the top of our heads, shall we? We have Pete Buttigieg as the Department of Transportation Secretary. Where is Pete Buttigieg as another Norfolk Southern train derails? Because we've got some details about the calamitous epidemic of train derailments. As the CEOs of these companies get pay raises to the millions and millions of dollars. Right? Let's talk about Jennifer Granholm, Secretary of Energy, embroiled in the very beginning of this Biden administration with Proterra, the electric bus company that the Biden administration gave billions of our dollars to, which then folded and filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. She was an investor, of course, in this company. And there was lots of questions about how much money she made on that. Miguel Cardona, Secretary of Education. What the hell's going on with our educational system, ladies and gentlemen? Are we knocking it out of the park? Are you feeling like your kids or the kids in your neighborhood are getting a world-class education? We're not a world-class country. We're not. It is America in decline. And it just keeps getting worse. And so Nikki Haley thinks this is her time. She's going to step forward. She got bad intel. But there's always an establishment candidate. Whether it's Mitt Romney, John McCain, who cares? It's always somebody. There's always somebody that the Uniparty puts up as a candidate, and usually that person is won. There's a reason why George Bush was president. There's a reason his dad was president. And then there was a reason that Donald Trump was elected. Because we started to see what was going on. And we awakened. Nikki Haley has won the District of Columbia's Republican primary. This sounds like big news, right? Wow. This is major. Really, it's not. Headline from the Post-Gazette, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Nikki Haley has won the District of Columbia's Republican primary. Her first victory of the 2024 campaign. Now, you look at that and you're like, wow, somebody voted for this woman? Well, let's see how many people. Washington is one of the most heavily Democratic jurisdictions in the nation. Here we go. 23,000 registered Republicans in the city. 23,000 registered Republicans in a community of 680,000. Okay. All right. So she wins what? She gets 1,267 votes. That's how few people turned out to vote. To Donald Trump's 676. Big news, ladies and gentlemen. Nikki Haley, man, she is Moving forward. No, she's not. I want to go over some of the highlights of the weekend because tomorrow is Super Tuesday. It is a big day. We're expecting a Supreme Court ruling today, an expedited drop. They're going to make a decision on whether or not Colorado, Maine, Hawaii, any of these cities or states rather, can ban Donald Trump, can keep his name off of the ballot. We're expecting some kind of a conclusion, a decision by the high court today. But obviously their objective to embarrass us about Trump, to make us feel shameful. Donald Trump has all these indictments, all these criminal charges. All you need to do is step back and be like, dude's been found guilty of nothing. He's done nothing wrong. Except love his country. Except believe in what you believe in. Except feel what you feel. And for that, he must be destroyed. Well, it was a good weekend for him. Some triumphs from the weekend. He sweeps up 3 GOP caucus victories before Super Tuesday tomorrow. Another series of electoral wins. We got Missouri, Michigan, and Idaho. And I'm watching North Dakota because North Dakota is today. And they are a very intriguing state. I'll tell you why in a minute. President Trump won Missouri's Republican caucus held in Clay County. 100% of the vote in all 114 of the state's counties. I want to tell you that again. See, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is not coming out saying, oh my gosh, did you guys hear that in fact the Republican Party isn't as divided as we say they are? Donald Trump swept Missouri. All counties, 114, got 100%. Instead, they want to tell you that Nikki Haley got 600 more votes in D.C., and that puts her on the map. Disingenuous and obvious. In fact, Missouri was such an immediate slaughter. The Associated Press called the race for Trump at 12:40 p.m. Eastern with only 5% of the total been counted. That means all 51 bound delegates from the state go to the Republican National Convention, will go to Donald Trump. Michigan. What's going on in Michigan? Big story, another extremely strong showing for Trump. All 13 districts at stake in Grand Rapids, right? By roughly 3 o'clock Eastern time, the unofficial tally showed him way ahead of Nikki Haley in every single one with 100% of the vote in a few. Look, the New York Times can try to spin this as both men, Trump and Biden, are highly unpopular. It is wrong. That is a lie. Don't take my word for it. Certainly don't take the New York Times word for it. Look at how people are voting, how they're coming out. 100% of the vote in a few of those counties in Michigan. Once certified, these results mean all remaining 39 Michigan delegates will go to Trump. 12 of 16 delegates at stake in Michigan's primary late last month went to him. Remainder went to Nikki Haley. Let's talk about Idaho. You know, these are the places nobody pays attention to. We should pay attention to them. Do you know who's doing things right? Idaho, North Dakota. Trump's third big win of the day came from the Mountain West. He repeated a 2020 feat by winning Idaho's Republican presidential caucus, held in lieu of its primary after lawmakers canceled the event without rescheduling it. The Associated Press projection came in just before 7 p.m. Eastern, soon after the president took to the stage at a rally in Richmond, Virginia. 77% of the vote counted. Almost 85% of the Republican voters chose Donald Trump. 13.5% going for Nikki Haley. Don't tell me that she's got momentum. Don't tell me that there's a reason for her to stay in this, other than the dark money, the dark figures, the swamp creatures who are desperate to do anything to try to derail Donald Trump. Now let's talk about D.C. and North Dakota. We know about D.C. This is interesting, what's going on today in North Dakota. Their primary. It's the only state without voter registration. Did you guys know this? No voter registration. But what do you have to do in North Dakota to vote? It is so novel. You guys ready? Because Merrick Garland at a church in Selma said yesterday that voter registration and all the efforts that we have to try to secure our elections, they're all racist. They're all unconstitutional. They're all discriminatory. So offensive. Another hack cabinet member of Joe Biden's. In North Dakota, you know what you got to do? You got to show your driver's license. I know, Brock, I heard you're gasping in there. I know. It's shocking.
That's shocking.
It is so crazy.
How do they get away with it?
I don't know. I was thinking the same thing, but beyond,
How do all those people get ID?
you know what? You can't expect people to go do that, can you? It's so racist what these folks on the left say. Beyond that, it's so insulting. And black voters know it. Hispanic voters know it. Young voters know it. It is brilliant. Brilliant, I say. So here in North Dakota, this is what you got to do. Got to show your driver's license. There are 29 delegates at play. The candidate needs at least 20% of the vote to win any delegates. If you get 60% or more, you sweep. You get all of them. So what do you do in North Dakota? Oh, you go and you vote in person. You vote in person using a paper ballot that is counted by hand. What?
How do they pull that off in one day?
I don't know. It's so weird how this works. So what's the state ready for? You had an absolutely lackluster showing of like 1,800 people voting in Washington, D.C. In North Dakota, they've printed out 30,000 paper ballots. They're ready to rock and roll. What's so hard about us doing that? Why can't we all do North Dakota? Why? What's so difficult about this? It's not. And that is the point. So let's go. If there's Super Tuesday looming, the last few days, of course, merely the appetizer before the main course. I don't think this is going to be Nikki Haley's last stand because there are going to be people who keep propping her up. Though every single day that she stays in longer, she destroys any kind of political future she has. Personally, I think she's toast. So Republican caucuses and primaries tomorrow. Alaska, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, and Virginia. Democrats are going to have contests in all those states except Alaska, as well as in American Samoa. Out of the 2,429 Republican delegates to the RNC, 854 will be decided on Super Tuesday, about 35%. So now you're caught up with all of this stuff. And I want to talk when we come back in just a moment from a short break. I want to talk to you about a very interesting article I had seen about Nikki Haley's self-destructive crusade to beat Donald Trump. Like, this is desperation time, right? She still thinks that she needs to stay in this. She is destroying herself as she picks up two of the worst endorsements in Congress. I've got that for you coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. And by the way, we have CNN. You guys don't think that you can have the effect that you have. You have, because we can just ask Wolf Blitzer, Jake Tapper, Anderson Cooper, Chris Wallace, any of these dudes. How are they feeling? How you feeling? Not so good. Apparently ratings suck. Revenues suck. That means your bloated salaries are first to go.
Here's the best way you can affect CNN. Cut the cord.
Yeah.
Because CNN doesn't really need Pfizer to do it. They get money from the cable companies to have programming. That's why Pfizer basically just pays for Anderson Cooper. Well, guess what? Where they get the rest of their money. So all these people cutting the cord.
Want to tell you guys about Dr. Charles Simkovich and the Simkovich Concussion Institute. I love people who are healers, and I can tell you without hesitation that Dr. Simkovich's Simkovich Concussion Institute, the healing that goes on there is so beyond profound because it, of course, has to do with the brain. And when you get injured in a traumatic brain injury or a concussion, which is a kind of TBI, you can get disturbances at the chemical level in your brain. And that can have a ripple effect on all sorts of things that you do, from your balance, your stability, your emotions, your everything. And if you're sideways and scrambled after an accident or what have you, you need an expert. You don't need a prescription pad. You need an expert. And that guy is Dr. Charles Simkovich. And they have this very specific, intense protocol where they get you healed. 412-366-3700. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. 412-366-3700.
Huh?
412-366-3700. 412-366-3700. Write it down. I hope you don't need it, but if you do, you will want it. Interesting article on Town Hall. I'm just going to read you two paragraphs, and then we have to talk about these endorsements and the freak outery going on at CNN right now. Paper ballots, in-person voting, counted by hand.
Maybe we should put
Bing, 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 bing.
Voter registration at like abortion clinics, because apparently Democrats think black people can find the abortion clinics, but not the DMV.
Well, we're going to end with that soundbite. Powerful. Nikki Haley picks up 2 sucky endorsements, right? Wouldn't you just, if somebody like Susan Collins or Lisa Murkowski wanted to endorse you, you'd be like, no, I don't think so. So Susan Collins has a 20% Liberty score at Conservative Review, meaning 1 out of every 5 votes that she makes is conservative based. Everything else sides with the liberals. Perfect. That's exactly what I want in a Republican representative. Get rid of her. Get rid of her. And what's Alaska doing? Lisa Murkowski, 29% Liberty score. Slightly better than sucky Susan Collins, but still absolutely awful. You've got to love this narrative, though. Found this headline on townhall.com. Nikki Haley's Super Tuesday spin is beyond ridiculous. You ready for this? Nikki Haley's going to get obliterated. We know this, all right? The Haley campaign has reached a point where these new media lines for her that they're pushing out are just so silly. She says now she wants a competitive showing. She's not trying to win. She just doesn't want to have her rear end handed to her. Well, that's not like the victory I'd be looking for. I want to make it competitive. I just don't want to look like a total clown. Well, I'm sorry, Nikki. I'm not so sure that's going to work for you. This is interesting as well. So many of these storylines that we talk about come from our good friends at CNN. This is CNN. GatewayPundit.com. Is this the end of the line for some CNN hosts? What? Anderson Cooper, Wolf Blitzer, other big names maybe on the chopping block. Who've they already gotten rid of? Don Lemon, right? Who's the Brian Stelter? Who else? There are others. Chris Cuomo, right? Oh my gosh, is it breaking news? People are done with the suck. Is that maybe the headline that we should be talking about today? If only the media would tell the truth, right? I could be their consultant. I could give them that.
If these hosts get fired and there's no one to see them get fired, do they really get fired?
No.
It's the tree in the forest.
That's right. A new report claims multiple big names at CNN could be let go as the network puts financial stability over famous faces. Well, why ever are you having such a hard time? Because even among your base, they realize how much you lie and propagandize and one side and act as activists. What about the good old days, right? When you can tune in and get some facts. This is what we know. This is what we don't know. And break, right? You do with that what you will. No, not anymore. The report in Touch, whatever that is, says that Anderson Cooper, Chris Wallace, Wolf Blitzer, and Jake Tapper could all be axed as CEO Mark Thompson prepares a radical plan to cut costs. Why is Anderson Cooper making $20 million a year? Look, I'm a capitalist. I'm all for it. But come on, man.
Are they really going to make these cuts, though?
I don't know.
Right before the election?
Well, so this is the story, and I think it's going to be, they're going to limp towards the finish line towards November, and I think that's exactly right, Brock. I think they're going to go through, and then after the election, whoosh, out comes the guillotine. Anderson knows he's on the chopping block because he makes a whopping $20 million a year. This is, quote, a source described as a network insider telling this publication called In Touch. I mean, who knows? I have no idea. Chris Wallace takes $8 million a year? I mean, what? What are you paying these people for? He figures he's a likely target as well, the source says. Nothing with $15 million for, noting rather, I should say, $15 million for Wilf Blitzer and $8 million for Jake Tapper. If I add that up, my rudimentary math tells me that's about $50 million. Just in those four dudes' salary. For what? For nobody to pay attention. Do you know there are days that this program, a self-syndicated program with a mom in front of the microphone, gets more listens and views on some days than CNN? I mean, come on. Everybody knows the focus is on cutting costs, the source said. No one is safe. We're seeing what I think is a very intriguing purge, right? We're seeing people realize that their votes, their dollars, their viewership, their time, it matters. And when you tune out, you shut down something that you used to support, whether it was just by paying attention or by giving your money and purchasing from them. I mean, think about the money that Anheuser-Busch lost last year, $1.4 billion, $3 million a day. And these people do not know how to stop doing what they're doing and pay attention, read the room, feel the barometer. We are simple people. It is not complicated. And yet, apparently, it is so. On Friday, Thompson, CNN CEO, sent a memo to staff about the, quote, changing economics of television. Nobody wants to be lied to anymore. I've got a news flash for these folks. If they wanted me to come in as their insultant, I totally would. And I would put it up on a PowerPoint. I'd gather everybody into an auditorium or everybody into the studio. And I'd say, look, we're going to keep this super easy for you. And I'm going to put up this two big words on the screen. Don't lie. That is a great way to reclaim your integrity in this industry. Until then, you're going to continue to suck. And you're going to continue to hemorrhage viewers. That's the story, ladies and gentlemen. All right, when we come back on this program, I want to talk about this border stuff, border lies. You know, I obviously, as I told you in the opening monologue, was racked by this little boy's video walking alone after making the trip wherever he came from across the southern border to be left and abandoned by himself, 10 years old. We need to dive into the lies that are being told every single day, because it is not okay. It is not. And that's next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Alejandro Mayorkas.
Oh, God.
I don't have enough terrible words for that man. I gotta try to get this out of my way.
I think they should make CNN hourly. You guys fought for $20 an hour?
Oh.
Jake, you get $20 an hour. How much work you putting in?
All right, so let's see what we want to talk about. Ooh. I want to talk about Ireland contracting, you guys, because we are now getting to that 2-week window. I think it's 2 weeks from yesterday that Ireland Contracting's awesome deal for new windows is going to vanish forever. So if you haven't called 1-800-NEW-ROOF or gone to IrelandContracting.com to check it out, please, please, please do. You get 0% financing, 36 months to pay off whatever it costs to get brand new, beautiful windows. And they'll bring all of the supplies to you. You're like, I don't know what kind I want. Well, call them and they'll bring you examples so you can choose whether it's double hung casement, vinyl, wood, kind that have the blinds inside the window. You've got bay windows, patio doors, new front doors. All of this is part of the 0% for 36 months at Ireland Contracting. And remember, they are A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Angie's List by Guild Quality, and of course by we here at the Wendy Bell Radio Network. They are a certified Pella window installer, so give them a buzz and get on their docket. This is the time to do it. And quite frankly, changes everything about your house. The value, the warmth, the safety and the security, the look, all of it. Have them come out and give you an estimate. I think you're going to love them as much as we do. IrelandContracting.com. My vision sucks.
Does it make you wonder,
God, it's so
truly, if I get in this conversation with a guy at the cigar shop all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me, he's like, well, we should go back to news like when Cronkite just gave the news and like the truth. And I looked at him, I was like,
I don't know.
I said, how do you know it was the truth?
I don't know.
And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, how do you know? How do you know it's the truth? I think they've been lying. I think the news now, here comes my tinfoil hat. I think the news has always been a lie.
Well,
Always.
I can tell you that the portion of it that I was in charge.
Except when you did it.
In charge of, well, I mean, I certainly never lied, and I did my due diligence. Like I worked my butt off to give you guys the best I could. We got a lot of people who roll in and just read what's presented for them.
Just read the teleprompter.
That's not. I hate that. That's not what I
You
did.
really want to take her off, call her a newsreader. I did that this weekend.
How did that go for you?
You were. I do it on purpose
I know.
because I know it agitates you. It brings me a little joy. Just a little.
It shouldn't. That's mean.
But wow.
That's mean. Why would you
Coming
wanna-
from the one who always is taking shots going, if I don't do it early enough, I can't do it all day. Or if I don't start in the morning,
Wow.
can't do it all day.
Way to botch that. This Hispanic thing I find very, very
I find the
interesting.
black men and a piece of sound we're going to play at the end. I think the Democrats have given up. I think they're taking the proverbial knee
Oh, I don't.
to the black voter. I do.
Oh. Yes,
the
I think
black
they.
voter?
I think they pivoted a while ago,
Yeah.
and I think it's just come out now.
I mean, wait till all the stuff about P. Diddy comes out. He's like the Jeffrey Epstein of the music industry.
Comes out with what?
Apparently, allegedly there's all kind of videos of him and sexual stuff to blackmail people, and yeah.
Why do you have to be gross?
Who?
Just people.
Oh. I don't know. We're coming to the part where it's now becoming easier to believe the ultra evil stuff.
Yes.
Which is a shame, but also eye-opening.
Yes.
It's just not one person. This Jeffrey Epstein, first it started with Weinstein, and then it went to Epstein, so now
yes.
you can believe it. Now stuff comes out with P. Diddy, and you're like, am I surprised?
Well, who was the other guy? Who was the other guy who was a performer who...
Kevin Spacey?
No, he's a black man, also in music.
R. Kelly.
Yes. Like, I don't want to be naive, but I also... there's a part of me that wants that fairy tale that we're almost near the end of the movie, and it's all gonna just we're gonna be like, oh, woo, oh my god, I thought that was real. Huh. Man, that was scary.
For the people asking, I went 0-20 on Saturday. Wendy went 0-6.
I didn't do anything. That you couldn't win for me.
I was trying to win you a birthday present so I didn't have to buy one.
Wow. Nothing says, here, have a handgun. Here, have a 38. And I'd be like, how you doing?
That's what I want.
I got to get my thing. I got to get my corset. There's this really cool thing that Kelly Pigeon's wife, Kelly Ann Pigeon, who's the armed and feminine trainer, she had pointed me in the direction of, and it's like a corset that goes around, obviously, but it's got holes like for your gun, one for your phone, whatever, and you can put it on underneath your clothes and then just bring it out when you need it, and sucks in your stomach, which I'm all about. I've had 5
Which
kids.
is, you should have started the other way around. It sucks in your stomach and holds your phone and holds a gun.
Oh, yeah, and it holds my phone. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a gun that goes there? Okay.
Sold.
Well, I know. I'm a very simple person. I keep telling Brock that.
Yeah.
I am.
That could be the biggest fake news story.
That's not fair.
In 2024.
That's not fair.
That's
not fair. Maybe it's fair.
Totally fair.
5, 4, 2, 1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America, one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump. Desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not, which I think remains one of our big campaign strengths going forward. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly, they can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Hey! Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program. Is always delighted to spend time with you. Thanks for being here. Thank you if you've not done so, though. You might consider getting the podcast. Wendy Bell Radio, wherever you get your favorite listening material. It's so daggone easy. So if you miss anything, we break down the show in 3 separate chunks. Hour 1, Hour 2, Hour 3. Each is available at your fingertips by downloading Wendy Bell Radio, the podcast, onto your phone, onto your device, and then bingo, you can be part of our family. 2 million downloads and growing. Having been a television news anchor and reporter for almost 30 years, sometimes I find myself looking back and wondering how much I was fooled. How much I was conned, how little I was paying attention to all of it. How long have the media been corrupt? How long have they been the propagandists of this uniparty swamp establishment narrative, which is just awful? And it's humbling to look back critically and say, you know what, I was busy. I was raising my kids. I was running around. I was anchoring the 5 o'clock and the 11 o'clock news. I was splitting my shift, coming home to make dinner, deal with little boys and bath time and homework and dinner and all of this stuff. And, you know, it was difficult. How long did I not pay attention? But we're paying attention now. And the date at which you are awakened or you see something gets peeled back in the narrative that doesn't make sense to you, it's less important about the date. It's more important that it happens. And we're hearing it and we're watching it on the southern border. There's nothing that these people have said to us that is true. Joe Biden has taken destructive, immediate action to unravel what had been working for a serious purpose. And we are all feeling the effects of it now. I am intrigued when I say that the New York Post today headline, Trump would beat Biden handily if election were held today, according to the latest poll. Now, this is contrary to what mainstream wants you to believe. They want you to believe that he's so distasted or distrusted. People don't want him. Bull crap. We want sanity back. And sanity is not Alejandro Mayorkas being in charge of freaking anything. The man is a snake. He is a liar. And I'm intrigued specifically in a 2-minute exchange he had over the weekend with Margaret Brennan on CBS. And I have 3 audio sound bites for you. And they begin with the heartbreaking reality that the immigrant who allegedly murdered Laken Riley in Georgia should not have been here. He had broken the law a couple times. There was no reason for him to be here. And he should have been deported. And so Margaret Brennan is trying to ask Alejandro Mayorkas, who's freaking in charge of the border, right? Not only are Border Patrol agents and Secret Service agents under his purview, right? He's got all the data. He knows all of the facts. He can't say her name. He cannot say Laken's name. This is astonishing to me. Listen to audio soundbite number 1.
Did those states and their law enforcement communicate to the federal government that this had happened? Should this man have been deported?
A few thoughts. First, Margaret, first and foremost, an absolute tragedy, and our hearts break for and our prayers are with the family.
The family. You know that he doesn't even know who they are. You know that neither he nor anybody in the Biden administration has reached out to her family. Say her name, Alejandro. Say her freaking name. And he has to look at notes. Notes. It's like Karine Jean-Pierre needing a binder with tabs. No, see, there's some things that you just know. You don't need to be prompted. These people are not human beings. They behave as monsters. And the lip service that comes after that is so disgusting. It is so offensive. And this is standard operating. This is what you get in this administration. She continues. And she says, look, Mr. Secretary, this dude is accused of bludgeoning her head in as she was running in the morning, going out for a run. These reports, he should not have been here. Listen to Alejandro Mayorkas dodge any kind of culpability. Go.
One individual is responsible for the murder, and that is the murderer. And we work very closely with state and local law enforcement to ensure that individuals who pose a threat to public safety are indeed our highest priority for detention and removal.
Like the dudes who beat up the cops in New York City and they were outbounced on the street in no time? Is that how seriously you take it, Alex? One person, he says, is responsible. Well, it's funny because whenever there's a shooting, it's not the gun's fault. It's MAGA. It's a right-wing extremist. It's something crazy, and we need to not just blame the individual and their mental illness, because if you're going to go somewhere and you're going to have the intent to kill a bunch of people, you're freaking crazy. It's never that. This is what you get on the right, this hatred. See, over here on the left, because of the policies that created this that allowed this to happen, he's going to say, no, it's one person's fault. It's this person, this guy's fault. It's not what we're doing. Isn't it an interesting shift? And then Margaret Brennan brings up an intriguing poll. And the poll says, people don't like you. They don't like Joe Biden. They don't like your policies. They don't trust you. This is where everything begins to turn. Go.
We know that immigration is a key issue for voters across the country. And according to our polling, by more than 5-1, voters believe President Biden's policies will lead more migrants to try crossing the border compared with President Trump's policies. Only 22% think your policies will decrease migrant crossings.
So people, they know what is going on. This is not a mystery, Alex. You could sit here and say, thoughts and prayers. Do you know how insulting that is? I'd rather be ignored than have somebody who is incapable because they are dead inside. That is how dark they are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got something.
Wendy Bell, breaking news.
Let's get to it. The Supreme Court has ruled former President Donald Trump is eligible to run for office. This overturns the Colorado Supreme Court decision that found him ineligible as a candidate and disqualified from the state ballot under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Quote, this is from the Epic Times, by the way. Responsibility for enforcing Section 3 against federal office holders and candidates rests with Congress and not the states. Thank you very much. The judgment of the Colorado Supreme Court, therefore, cannot stand. All 9 members of the court agree with that result. A unanimous decision, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, you know, besides the Supreme Court in Colorado, the Maine Secretary of State and an Illinois judge had also ruled President Trump ineligible after finding that he engaged in an insurrection. Sit down. Sit the hell down. At least we have a little bit of faith now that not everything is lost in this country. I want to get out to this. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, he's going to tell you the truth, what he thinks is going on at the border, and all of them can be traced back to the result for Lakin's murder. Listen.
Joe Biden opened up the floodgates. He implemented over 90 executive orders at the beginning of his administration that were meant to open the border. He and his Secretary of Homeland Security, they bragged about it. They said they were undoing the Trump border policies, and now 3 years later, we're living with the disaster of it. We just go back to this terrible murder of Laken Riley, who was killed doing what young kids just do. She was out exercising, enjoying her life, and she was brutally murdered by someone who shouldn't have been here. That person was paroled by the Biden administration. And I have to say, Maria, it's not just a radical departure from the Trump border policies. It's in some ways a radical departure from the Obama border policies. Barack Obama paroled about 5,000 illegal aliens per year. Joe Biden is paroling close to 1 million per year, including the person who brutally murdered Laken Riley. So we have a problem. It is a problem called Joe Biden. And unless we get him out of the Oval Office, we're never going to have a secure border because he doesn't have the will to do basic border enforcement.
A quick timeout. When we come back, you've got to hear some random acts of journalism, courtesy of 60 Minutes. Wait, what? What's next? Saturday Night Live actually telling the truth? I don't know. Buckle up. It's next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. I talked to you guys about Field of Greens. And I've gotten some great testimonials from you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You know, everybody says the same thing. There's something that makes you feel good when you know that you're doing something to benefit you. I mean, we spend our lives running around, taking care of the people we love, doing the best we can. And it's easy for your own well-being to slip through the cracks. This is one of the easiest things to do, and it's called Field of Greens. All right. So this is the wild berry. This is the lemon lime. I like them both. I think if I had to choose, I'd go with this one. But they have a bunch of different varieties. And this is going to be like the healthiest thing that you do all day because it's got all of these essential vitamins and minerals, all of these fruits and vegetables, the whole organic fruit and vegetable. I mean, you're talking about its seeds, its core, its skin, its peel, all of the things that have the most nutrients and vitamins for you. It's broken down into powder form. You get a little scooper inside. Take a scoop of it, put it in cool water, shake it up. I add a few ice cubes, drink it down. Not only does it do a nice job of crushing your appetite for a couple hours, you feel good. You start seeing that your digestive system moves more fluidly. Your hair gets shiny. I mean, I don't know if you guys can tell, but super shiny hair. My nails are strong. My skin is healthy. I can't fathom what's going on the inside of me. It's called Field of Greens. And I would encourage you, if you have someone in your life who's going through chemotherapy or who is struggling and has been sick, get one of these and enjoy a 15% off coupon with my name on your first order. So sorry if you've ordered already, you're not going to get the discount, but I'll tell you what, 10% off if you subscribe. So every month, fieldofgreens.com, promo code Wendy. Field of Greens, promo code Wendy. Way more energy, sleeping better through the night, healthier hair and skin, helps with digestion. You feel better and healthier overall. Sometimes that is just enough. Fieldofgreens.com. I really like it. It's a superfood that I won't live without. Thank you for that, Brock.
You're welcome.
Brock's my eyes, you know. I'm the mouth, he's the eyes. You know what I mean. I hate everyone. It's terrible to say that, I know, but it's true. How are we doing in the numbers, or should I not pay attention?
No, we got 13-4 watching.
Hey, welcome everybody.
244.
Hey, if you're new, we just love you. If you like what you hear so far, or you don't hate us, why don't you click the thumbs up button?
Or if you do hate us,
underneath the video box and join us. Give us a rumble. That is something that helps us down the road, and so we're very appreciative.
More importantly, follow.
Oh yeah,
we've gained last 2 days or last 2 shows. We've been editors pick, and we've gained 400 followers. So yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So
and remember our locals page. For those of you who donate and give $5 a month, we have I think we're going to do something where you can get a year for like $50 or whatever. So you get 2 months free. We're going to set that up for you, but we appreciate that. It's not necessary, but I know a lot of you enjoy being able to say
we paid rent.
Yeah. Right. You guys are great. So thank you very much. It's important to notice that not every media outlet is seeing that, oh no, I'm going to have to come forward at some point. I'm going to have to start telling the truth at some point because this isn't going to end well. This is not going to age well. If these news outlets have been pushing the narrative of suck on the left, and they have, and you're awakened, I'm awakened, Black voters are awakened, Hispanics know what's going on, Generation Z voters, of which there are 3 in my home, 3 of my 5 sons fall in that 18 to 24 category. If everybody is awakening and these outlets refuse to start telling the truth, CNN's on the phone with you. They've got some advice. Don't do it. Tell the truth. Listen to this. This is a sit down. His name is Raul Ortiz. This was an episode of 60 Minutes last night. And it's amazing. He was a former head of the Border Patrol, served under Donald Trump as an assistant, was the dude before retiring last year under Biden. Listen to the reality of a disconnected Biden administration. Not disconnected. They're disinterested. They don't give a crap. They don't care about the people, the collateral damage. They don't care about the dead migrants drowning in the river. They don't care about the kids being trafficked. They don't care about the women being raped. They don't care about the organ harvesting, right? They don't care. 60 Minutes in a random act of journalism yesterday. Intriguing. Listen.
In our interview, Ortiz criticized Governor Abbott for not cooperating with the Border Patrol and playing politics with immigration. But he also expressed frustration with President Biden.
I've never had one conversation with the president or the vice president for that matter. And so I was the chief of the Border Patrol. I commanded 21,000 people. That's a problem.
I'd say so. Never once. What happened to the root causes? What happened to Kamala Harris, the czar? What happened to anything? It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all bullcrap. It's optics. It's Great Gatsby. It's obvious. Ted Cruz drops this obvious statement as well. Go.
Come to the border and see the misery and suffering that your open border policies have caused. Look at the dead bodies, the 853 migrants who died last year crossing illegally into this country. Look in the eyes of the little children brutalized by human traffickers. Look in the eyes of women violently raped by human traffickers. Look at the families who have lost over 100,000 loved ones to drug overdoses, and take responsibility. You know what, David? I'm confident Joe Biden will do none of that.
I am as well. And where's this breaking news? U.S. border agents find $11 million worth of fentanyl pills hidden in a vehicle. This is the one they got. How many others did they not? This trying to cross in at San Ysidro, I guess, San Diego. They pull over a sedan, a 2008. Dude inside, some 37-year-old guy trying to cross over from Mexico into the United States at the San Ysidro point of interest. K-9 unit alerts officers to the glove compartment area, indicating the possible presence of narcotics. I'll say, how about this? Estimated 561,000 pills. 561,000, a total weight of 123 pounds, and approximate street value of $11,220,000. This is what we found. For every one guy in a 2008 sedan, how many 50 are getting through? This is what we're up against. And you know what? The whole idea that the Biden administration is trying to call them newcomers, these people coming across the border, they're not illegal immigrants. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are, because they're breaking the law. And they're from other places. That's what that means. Don't get hurt by that. It's factual. Don't dare call them newcomers. Newcomers, welcome. I can only imagine the travel arrangements. Come on. You too can be raped along the way. Don't know how to swim? Don't worry about it. And if you're a little 10-year-old boy, you might be left alone to wander the border all by yourself, as we discussed in the opening monologue. This is what you get in Joe Biden's America. And they want you shackled and chained. And I'll explain that coming up. Unreal updates. But I have to do this. Another train derailment. A CEO who gets a fat 37% raise. Millions of dollars. Are CEOs getting paid more to put all of us in danger? Feels like it. Let's go there next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I didn't even get to the story I wanted to, which is the homelessness among our veterans.
Oh yeah, that's nuts.
I'll have to save that maybe for tomorrow or something. But
Just think of what that 60 billion could have done.
I hear Kelly Morgan, Morgain's Fitness, MORGAINZ Fitness.com. I enjoy people who are strong, who are dedicated, who take chances, take calculated risks, aren't afraid of failure, and who take every failure and every experience and make their business model better. And that is Kelly Morgan at Morgain's Fitness. 4 locations in Western Pennsylvania, Somerset and Cambria counties. I know you guys are a global audience. I mean, we're not just national. You guys are all over the world. And I'm beyond amazed by that. But if you happen to be in our slice of the land before time, there is a very cool place to support, and it's called Morgain's Fitness. So thank you for so doing. Thank you to Kelly for supporting this show. Morgain's, MORGAINZ Fitness. Fantastic. I'm going to run to the bathroom, Brock. I'll be right back.
Okay. Wait till you hear the story that she just said. She didn't even get to the story about homelessness, not just in veterans, in general. We know the old, I don't know how the stats been updated, but what do they say? 1 in 5 kids goes to bed hungry. In a country of ample supply, how do you think those kids would feel if they had access to Amos Miller? Hungry kids all over the country, and we're shutting people down. It's absolutely disgusting how we leave people hang. But you and I are the cold-hearted people who don't care about equity and inclusion. I kind of agree with I kind of say inclusion and feeding everyone would be a pretty damn good idea. Nice to see the Supreme Court go 9-0. That might be the first common sense ruling that the Supreme Court has given in a long time. I'm surprised John Roberts didn't vote against it just because, someone had some dirt on him. I agree, Amanda. F the inclusion and the equity. Feed the damn people. How much milk gets thrown away? How much food gets thrown away every day that's perfectly fine, but because the FDA says it's not, we can't eat it. Produce in our stores is ridiculous. They have a food bank comes to the south side area where I live, and I watch the line around the building of people just waiting to get vegetables. It's so sad that people have to stand in line to get free food.
Where was that? Everywhere?
The south side by Bloom's, they have a food thing every second Tuesday, every other Wednesday or something. And to watch the lines of people just waiting to get food. Mm-hmm. But the amount of food we throw away as a nation,
what do they want to do to Amos Miller?
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I'm sure those hungry kids every night would kill for Amos Miller's milk and butter.
Joe had a patient who brought he's a baker, and he this wonderful loaf of bread for me. Well, not for me. He gave it to Joe to give to me.
I wouldn't know.
And you can taste the difference.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you taste the difference. It's so good. And literally, we cut it up, or it was already cut up, and I just put out some really good butter. There you go with dinner. Just put that right here on my
the zhuzh.
Just slather that on the zhuzh, folks.
Put it right there. Velcro it right there.
I know. Thanks. All right. Where are we going? This is crazy to me. What the hell is going on with all of these train derailments?
Well,
what's going on with all these fires?
Pete is busy chest feeding still. And talking about racist roads. Time magazine, I just got an alert. They're all over that Supreme Court case. Someone must have fell asleep at the keyboard.
Wait, what did you just say? I'm sorry.
I just got an alert from Time magazine that Trump won his court case. They're all over it.
Welcome back, my friends. You are dialed into the Wendy Bell radio program. As I tell you, I like to kind of float up at about 30,000 feet, look down and see what's going on. It's kind of hard to have that view when you're down in the trenches because you can only see what's in front of you. But when you get up a little higher and you look down, you can see with a little bit more clarity. You can notice trends. You can see dots starting to connect. You can see things in a different perspective. And it is from that I'm looking at this story of not just another Norfolk Southern train derailment, but yet another wildfire, another monster catastrophe. This is the biggest fire in Texas history. I mean, stuff happens. I get it. But I see nothing anymore as a coincidence. I don't believe that more than 100 industrial food manufacturing fires last year, and I think the number was more like 135 or something like that. Those are not all just, wow, that's so weird. Huh, what's going on? I don't know. Is there a threat is there an attack on our food supply? Do we live in an abusive government, right? That wants to control not just what you eat, how you eat, where you get it from, who can grow it and how? Because from where I'm looking, yes, it's exactly what it is. I have no idea what sparked this Texas wildfire in the Panhandle. I can tell you the collateral damage if they don't get this thing under control and it's not controllable. You got 10 million head of cattle in the line of fire. That's your food supply. That makes me uncomfortable. It should. But I started doing a little digging. This Xcel Energy, so wild. The CEO last year got a $3 million raise. That's amazing. $3 million. Do you know how many of us won't make $3 million in our lifetime? And this guy, yeah, whatever. You guys wanted to guess who the main investors are with Xcel Energy? Brock, you want to weigh in on that? What do you think?
I'm going to go with BlackRock and Vanguard.
And State Street. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Bing, 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 bing. Wait a minute. What about Hawaiian Electric? Hawaiian Electric. CEO makes millions of dollars. It's the way it goes. I don't besmirch anybody's capitalistic ability to make a buck. But, Lahaina did get freaking wiped off the map. And there's some downed power lines that some people thought might have exacerbated the problem. Who do you guys think the main shareholders are in Hawaiian Electric? Oh, that's right. That's BlackRock and Vanguard. Huh. Oh, this is so weird. Norfolk Southern. This is wild. Well, let's get out to the breaking news from over the weekend on the other side of the land before time, where I am in Philadelphia. Let's listen in.
Breaking news out of Northampton County. You're looking at the first images of a train derailment in Lower Salkin Township. The Nancy Run Fire Company says the derailment is on Riverside Drive. On social media, county leaders say there are no evacuations, no injuries, and no leaks from any of the containers on board. Hazmat crews are on the scene in Norfolk Southern. They are also on the site assessing the situation. Our crews are monitoring the situation as well, and we're bringing you the updates as we get them.
Well, I've got nothing to tell you. We've got nothing at all, though we can tell you that there's nothing leaching into the water, because in a matter of hours, we've been able to establish that, which is crap. So wait, what's this? Norfolk Southern. That's crazy. Norfolk Southern CEO. His pay jumped to $13 million after that derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. Wait, who are the main investors, shareholders in Norfolk Southern? What was that?
BlackRock and Vanguard.
And State Street. Oh my gosh, it's so weird. It's like all these things. Why? What is going on? Well, I was kind of more interested beyond the suck of the CEOs getting compensated a hell of a lot for a lot of issues. Like, you would think after devastating wildfires eliminated, generations of families and forever incinerated like a crematorium, a community in Lahaina. I don't know. I wouldn't be like, hey, Phil, get in here. Let's have a talk. My man, you've done a great job. I think you deserve a raise. Is $2 million more than you're making now good? In what world does that happen? It doesn't. But when we're talking about train derailments, well, this is unfortunate. We started doing a little digging. Like, how many times do the trains derail? A hell of a lot. Does anybody want to ask that wild question? What the hell's going on? Because I don't know, as a curious mom, as a common sense conservative woman who can read the news, I can connect those dots. Something serious is going on. Got a bunch of manufacturing plants, food supply up in smoke. So weird how that happens. More than 100 times in a year. Big ones. Like millions of chickens gone. Poof. Right? You got cows now. 10 million head. Getting ready to be in the line of fire if they already aren't. And then you got these weird train derailments all over the place. usafacts.org. Find this. You'll want to read this. Here's the question. Are train derailments becoming more common? And I might add as an aside here, as just a curious person, where the hell is Pete Buttigieg? What does this dude do? He doesn't show up in East Palestine until everybody is ticked, and he has to. And then he has some glad-handery limp, oh, we were on the ground immediately. No, you weren't, Pete. You clown. How about this? This is as of October 2023. This is just in the United States, just last year, and with still 2 months to go in the year. The Federal Railroad Administration has recorded 742 train derailments. 742. So you're averaging 2.5 train derailments a day. Now, does anybody tap the brakes and say, I'm no engineer. I'm not a rock star. But some crap is going on. And I think we should probably figure it out. And what's going on in Pennsylvania? Well, let's dig a little bit deeper. How about this? Since 1975, an average 2,808 trains have derailed each year, with a peak of 9,400, right? 9,400 derailments in 1978. In the decade following that peak, the number of derailments mostly fell through the 1980s. By 1990, derailments had reached about 2,300 a year. Well, is that a good enough number? Like, what's going on? And why? Is it a problem with our infrastructure? Because last time I checked, we just, a $1.9 trillion infrastructure bill? Isn't that what it was? Like, what are we doing? Where's that money going? It's certainly not making our rails more safe, making trains and their passage any better. We got 467 people who have died in these train accidents since the 1970s. But let's talk about some of the areas that have the most problems. Why is this? Don't you guys think that after one derailment with toxic chemicals in the waterway, that people would hit the brakes and be like, okay, enough? No, it's called totally inept. Totally inept. Illinois, Texas, and Pennsylvania have had more derailments than anywhere else in the nation. Illinois has had the most. 12,000. 12,958 since 1975. That's a lot. How about this? Texas has the most railway mileage, 10,500 miles of rail lines. The state has recorded the second highest number of derailments since 1975, 12,841. Pennsylvania has 6,500 train derailments. And you know what the number one cause? Let's see. The number two cause, human factors. Half of all accidents are caused by either mechanical failure or some sort of structural issue involving the track or the roadbed. All right? Human factors, such as a crew member failing to perform their duty or violating an operating rule, accounted for 30%. 1/3 equals human error. What are we paying? What are we paying the Department of Transportation for? Are we paying for those fine bridges? The wonderful roads? Because in my community, they suck. Are we paying for safe transportation of goods and services on our rail lines? No. Because the amount of hazardous materials, not to the extent of East Palestine, because some idiot was like, blow it up. Because that makes sense. And there's no accountability. There's no afterthought. And who is the collateral damage? We are. So when I said at the beginning of the show that the theme today is shackled and chained, yes, physically, because we're about to come up to a story of a reporter shackled and chained 3 years later for his processing on misdemeanor charges following January 6th. That's the literal sense. But we all are in this administration. It's run by incompetent boobs who check boxes, none of whom are even remotely qualified or have any kind of skill or concern in their individual capacities. 2, that ineptitude allows horrendous, cataclysmic loss of life. And 3, if you want to ask about it or talk about it, you'll be silenced, you'll be canceled, you'll be censored, or you'll be fired. Or, what the hell? All of the above. And these people want to tell us that Joe Biden wants to finish the job. Is it possible that America could survive? Whatever the hell that means. I'm going to go with no. So again, usafacts.org. Fascinating. When you start peeling back the layers and looking a little bit deeper into this. Thank God the CEO is making $13 million a year. Makes me sleep better. All right, forget liberty and justice. It's all about retribution and revenge. At the DC Gulag, I'll explain why. Coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Hey, Texas Bullion. TexasBullion.com, Texas Bullion Exchange. You know, it doesn't seem like our money goes even remotely as far as it used to. And I know that Joe and I were super stock and bond heavy with our 401ks, our investment portfolio. And then our advisor was like, have you guys thought about precious metals? And I'm like, I don't know the foggiest thing about precious metals. When I met the guys at Texas Bullion Exchange, and we were on the phone several times talking about what they did and how they did it and how they're different from other companies, it was like all of a sudden I I got it. I'm like, oh, so you don't necessarily have to buy, you don't have to spend, you can convert, you can get it into your portfolio without actually paying out of pocket. Yeah, you can totally do that. Or you can buy coins, you can buy rounds, gold bars, silver, platinum, palladium coins, right? And I've shown you this, and I'll show it every day. It gives you the little like barcode. This is all legit. Everything has their own scanning system. They're all documented. How fun to be able to get involved with this and to give to people in your life who you'd like to give something special to and watch it grow. Value of gold is not going down anytime soon. TexasBullion.com. Get your free gold investing guide. And if you make a certified coin purchase like I did, well, they sent me that one. I didn't make it. That was fake news. If you make a certified coin purchase from them today, you're going to save 10% using my name, Wendy. 855-927-5557. 855-927-5557. My right eye.
So if I steal
sucks.
that,
Yes.
I'm not really stealing it.
No. I mean, you are, but whatever. Are you hard up?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
After that bar bill?
You mean this one?
I think I'm finally not hungover anymore.
That's Wendy.
Look at him. He's so cheap he doesn't tip.
I tipped in cash.
Wow. I could have done that. I should have done anything.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything.
No, I take that. That's fake news. She actually ordered another one and then tabbed me out.
I'm a giver.
Yeah,
of
other people's stuff.
Yes, I'm a giver. Oh, I'm so sorry. Now this is just like, this is petty and childish, and it's so disappointing. But we got to talk about it. How much I hate everyone. Too soon. There's this really strange and hard to describe. It's not petty because I try to describe what goes on in the mind of a leftist, right? A communist, Marxist, socialist, progressive / one of these people who's easily triggered by those of us who dare to not agree with what they think, right? The knives out. There's this. There is this palpable, just vitriol, a loathing for those of us who are like, yeah, I don't really see the world the way you do. I disagree. How dare you? We live in this homogenized world where there is one way only. It's called the cattle chute. And if you ain't in it, you're an enemy. I saw this morning, and headline, Gateway Pundit, ear-piercing noise blares through the DC gulag, torturing sleep-deprived January 6 political prisoners for weeks. I guess we should not be at all surprised by the left's cavalier handling of the just absolute awful treatment of human beings coming to this country. From the minute they are extorted for whatever it costs to get here, to the peril on their journey, to all of it. The hatred, I struggle with that. And here's the story, and I want you to hear the sound in just a minute. An ear-shattering, harrowing, sharp noise has been blaring through the Washington, D.C. Correctional Treatment Facility for weeks, where January 6 political prisoners are detained. Look, I realize that prison's not supposed to be comfortable, but it's not supposed to defy your human rights. You ought not be served food with bugs in the food. You should not be beaten. You should not be denied medical treatment. When we have transgender, quote unquote, dudes who want to be girls getting transferred into women's prisons, having rights, being preferred. And you have people who wandered through the Capitol building, the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, who got rounded up and convicted and thrown away. And I want you to hear the noise. Here's what they're hearing. This is somebody walks into this jail, right? The DC Gulag. They are walking into basically a vestibule area where one would ostensibly meet a prison worker who would take them somewhere, right? This is not inside the bowels of this C3A. This is a cell block known as the Patriot Pod in the DC Gulag. This is floors away, and listen to the sound. Imagine how loud it is where these folks are sleeping. Go. Is that awful? Right? It's like a smoke detector. It's something. And that is what they are hearing. The January 6th political prisoners being detained, segregated from the general population. Why would you do that? So you can get away with inhumane treatment of people who did what exactly? Of what exactly? I don't understand it, and I don't ever want to understand it. Because I can look at people who I fundamentally disagree with, and I don't want to hurt them. I don't wish ill will upon them. I don't hope something terrible happens. I would not delight if one of them lost their job. I wouldn't sit here and rejoice. Because that's not what normal good people do. And somewhere along the way, there was a switch that got flipped. And then there's something that happened. To be okay with thousands of people being brutalized on their trip here. To be okay with beating and torturing fellow human beings. I'll never understand that. There is a mental illness in this country, and it is perpetuated by this administration that wants you, if you dissent, shackled and chained. And when we come back after this next short break, and we are at the top of the third hour, I want to talk about the optics. When you don't have facts, when you don't have a track record, when you don't have anything to campaign on but destruction and humiliation and suffering and poverty and loss and insecurity and terror, all you have left is the optics of your storyline. And the optics are, for the left, that allowing Donald Trump back into office is going to threaten this country in a way that we can't fathom. Friends, we're already there. And the processing of one man, a journalist, 3 years after January 6th, shackling him so that he can be processed for misdemeanors, your country's already gone. It's gone. And we've got that story for you coming up next, third hour of the Wendy Bell Radio program.
This is why if you go on Twitter or any other social media platform or talk to any liberal, they never say anything specific about the people in the DC gulag. They say they're insurrectionists. They dehumanize them by not saying, well, we used to bitch and moan about waterboarding terrorists, and they had to stop that. They don't want to hear about January 6 tapes. They don't want to hear about the people. They are going through life like this. Imagine you say, not my president with Joe Biden. It's horrible for you to say that, but they did it with Donald Trump for 4 years.
I agree.
Liberals suck.
Mm-hmm.
You suck. You 3 thumbs down or however many we have, you suck. The big one.
So I want to tell you guys, I talk about Patriot Switch. If you're new to the show, and I know we have new eyes every day, I love the idea of Bud Lighting a company for not standing up for its values or for the values that we share. And for them to say to us that they do, only to find out that, in fact, they do not. I've stopped a lot of things. I don't buy anything from Starbucks. I don't shop at Nike anymore. I don't buy anything from Patagonia. They're just certain brands that crossed the line when they decided to get in bed with this whole movement of suck on the left. And we knew it was lousy, and they did it anyway. So good enough. My money is no longer your money. And I felt that way about Walmart. I felt that way about Amazon, Jeff Bezos. I think he's lousy. And I sure as hell feel that way about Target. And I go there for nothing hardly anymore. Nothing, because I've shifted all my money to Patriot Switch. PatriotSwitch.com/Wendy. This idea that we can buy, instead of from these stores, we can buy a lot of the products that we want and need for our families every day anyway, somewhere else. That it's super easy to get, that there are natural products, that they don't have dangerous chemicals. There's no child safety cabs because there's never been a lawsuit about somebody being poisoned, because that's not what this company makes. It's amazing, though, that through chemistry, they can make some of the best home cleaning products out there.
Mm-hmm.
That they can clean your clothes, they can clean your dishes, your floor, your shower, everything that you have. What they make is off the charts. You will like it as much, if not more than what you currently buy.
Love the deodorant.
Love all of it. PatriotSwitch.com/Wendy. And I'd said they have 450 products. Brock and I are both members. I'm like, I'm going to start branching out. So I got these. They're access bars. It's what they're called. So access bars, these are in chocolate caramel cruncher. Really? Really? Exercise bars with proven technology turns fat into fuel. I'm just going to read the box because I love it as I poke myself in the eye. Scientifically formulated to help reduce body fat, increase lean muscle mass, and prevent weight regain. 10 1-ounce bars. I'm all in. I had one yesterday while talking to Brock on the phone. They're so good. PatriotSwitch.com/Wendy. If you want to learn more, I know it seems cryptic, but it becomes very easy to understand when you go online and you go to PatriotSwitch.com/Wendy and say, hey, tell me more about what you people do. Tell me more. I want to join. Change your life. Tell you, change your life.
All right, 150. We got 150 people.
Oh, I would love that. We've got 12,400 watching. Hi, guys.
12,500.
Hello. So we are at 285. Love to hit 3,000 rumbles. Thank you. If we can get another 150 people to hit that thumbs up, smash that button, as they say. We got a little Amos Miller for you here. We got a little Blaze media journalist that we got to tell you about. Look at Demanda. She's helping. She says they work so hard for us. The least you can do is click that box. I agree. I'm with you. Oh.
No, I don't want one of those bars. I'm not hungry.
Do you want one?
No.
Do you? Because I'll bring you one. They're fantastic.
Oh, is that empty?
No. I just opened it. Do you want one?
No.
Yes, I'm bringing you one.
I don't want one.
I'm bringing you one.
I don't want one.
You better eat one.
I'm not going to eat it.
Moron. Then why did you say anything?
I just wanted to let you know that I knew that you had that box, and
Yeah, I know, because I just showed you, moron.
I saw it before.
Ugh. I know.
So it was literally, I saw it at 7:30. Almost. Well,
I feel like I scratched my eyeball.
how many fingers am I holding up?
Wow. I'm not looking. Wow.
You couldn't see it anyways.
Wow.
Oh, here we go.
What do you mean, here we go? All right, let's see where we are. 2.95. Let's go. Let's get ready to rumble. I mean, I'm not allowed to say that, am I? Shoot. Sorry. We need 50.
Sued.
Can we get 50 people? 50, 50, 50. Thank you, guys. Aw, thanks, Horseman. I got the app on my TV now and watching on TV for the first time. I opened up my phone app just so I could hit Rumble.
Nice. You can rumble on your TV, too. Go up, get the little bar across it, and they have a thumbs up and thumbs down on a lot of TVs.
30 people in 30 seconds. We can do it.
You can do it.
Let's go. Thanks, you guys. So appreciative.
It keeps the streak alive. I think the streak's over a month.
20. All we need is 20. Oh, your Field of Greens comes today. You have to let us know in the stream what you think. I love it. It's a no-brainer. 3. Whew. You guys rock. I love you. I love you. Thank you.
Going old school.
Are you?
Yep. You don't have no idea.
Oh, okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Folks, we got a lot of work to do. I don't only need you to get me elected, I need you once I'm elected. No longer just who gets to vote or making it easy for eligible people to vote. It's about who gets to count the vote and whether your vote counts at all. It's about who gets to count the votes, whether they should count at all. Who gets to count the vote? Count the vote. Count the vote. It's about election subversion, not just whether or not people get to vote. Who counts the vote?
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we are converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, welcome back, America. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is on the clock. And, it's had to be a year or two ago, we did a show about being in an abusive government. You've heard all of the things about being in an abusive relationship. Well, you are in an abusive relationship with your government. We're living in an abusive government. And it really came into focus Friday in a specific story I'm going to share with you here in just a moment. But let's think about this. Control what you read, what you watch, and what you say. They monitor everything you do, right? Up until a couple years ago, I wouldn't say, yep, check, keep going. But now we do. They punish you for breaking the rules, but the rules keep on changing. What else? They tell you it's for your own good and that they know better than you do. Trust them. They don't allow you to question what they do. They tell you you're crazy, that nobody agrees with you, right? Those election deniers, vaccine deniers, you're crazy. Well, everything that's coming out right now, right? Who's crazy? They call you names. They shame you for being stupid or selfish. They gaslight you. They challenge your memory of events. They make you doubt yourself. Not anymore. They dismiss your opinions. They play the victim. And if things go wrong, of course, it's all your fault. You did it. They stop you from seeing friends and family. They won't let you go out without permission. They tell you what to wear, how to act. They monitor your phone and your emails, control the finances, control what all of it is. Doesn't that sound so familiar? Because those are the scary connections in an abusive relationship. Well, you're in one with your government. And I want to read this to you because we talked about this fellow on Friday. His name is Steve Baker, and he works for Blaze Media, Glenn Beck's outfit. This is an article on the Epic Times, but this goes to show you the optics of this abusive government. When you're on the right side of something, you don't need to create the narrative. You don't have to create January 6th. You don't have to create a commission and then create a story that you present to the American people to present your case. You have the facts in front of you. If you're on the wrong side of things, you are left to scramble. You are left to try to sell whatever the suck is that you're trying to inflict on people. And creating this idea of January 6th insurrection, of some kind of an attempt, the worst attempt ever to overthrow anybody. I mean, these clowns didn't even bring a knife, let alone a gun to the Capitol, right? Of course, the illusion is stupid. But 3 years after the whole January 6th nonsense, this guy, Stephen Baker of Blaze Media, gets hauled in before a judge and they put him in chains. Put the guy in chains. He didn't murder anybody. He didn't go out and kill. He didn't set anything on fire. He didn't create any property damage. He was a journalist. Headline: journalist appears in federal court in leg and belly chains to face January 6th misdemeanors. Well, what did he do? Oh, that's right. He was a conservative journalist who told the truth about what he saw that day, and they're angry about it. 3 years later, here you go. Blaze Media journalist Steve Baker was arrested by the FBI, brought to a Texas federal courtroom in handcuffs, a belly chain, and foot shackles to face 4 non-violent misdemeanor charges for being at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Those illegal invaders who beat up the 2 police officers in New York got bounced within hours. No penalty, no time, no nothing. This guy, 3 years later, for writing news that the establishment didn't like, gets shackled and chained? Really? Accompanied by defense attorneys James Lee Bright and Edward Tarpley Jr., Mr. Baker surrendered at the FBI field office in Dallas at 7 a.m. March 1st. On the lapel of his suit jacket, he wore a pin with an upside-down FBI badge that forms the logo of the Suspendables, a group of FBI whistleblowers that includes Kyle Seraphin, Steve Friend, Garrett O'Boyle. He'd been advised by the FBI to show up in shorts and sandals, but instead came dressed in a suit. Why the hell would the FBI? For processing. For processing. Because it's all about the optics. And I want you to hear what this man, Stephen Baker, who didn't get violent, he didn't hurt anybody, he recorded and reported what he saw on January 6th. What it was like to be shackled and chained and trotted out before the cameras specifically for the optics of this great charade called January 6th to continue. I've got 3 audio sound bites. This is Mr. Baker moments after that event. Go.
I probably don't have a lot to say right now. I need to process for a little while. I'm actually still shaking a little bit. I don't like what I just went through. I don't like the deliberate humiliation that they put me through. There was no reason to do that. There was no reason to march me into a courtroom in leg chains today. There was somebody there answering for a felony, and they weren't in chains. My charges are misdemeanors. It's just, it's mind-boggling.
So what did he do? Mr. Baker was charged in a criminal complaint in Washington, D.C. with knowingly entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds without authority. Capitol Police opened the doors. They gave Jacob Chansley a guided tour. That's called entrapment. I had to march in front of everybody with leg chains on, he added. This was not my favorite moment in life. Just a deliberate humiliation. It was something they didn't have to do. And then he says when he appeared in court in belly and leg chains, there was a non-January 6 felony defendant nearby who was not at all shackled. Curious. Audio soundbite number 2.
That is, unfortunately, the type of selective persecution that January 6 defendants are facing. And ultimately, what we are looking at here, and probably the only reason that many of the January 6 defendants have had to go through what they've had to go through, is because of what I've talked about so many times and what I've written about so many times. It's called scary words. It doesn't matter if it's Stuart Rhodes. It doesn't matter if it's the grandmother who chanted USA, USA in the Capitol. It's the scary words that were said. If you don't say the right thing at the right time and comport to the right narrative, that's what they're going to do, is they're going to come after us, and that's exactly what's happened.
Controlling what you are allowed to say, what you're allowed to report, what you're allowed to put on social media, and then coming after you. Spitefully, vengefully, to put you in shackles and chains. 15 signs that you live in an abusive government. That's a big one. And finally, listen to what he says about another defendant in the courtroom with him. Go.
These charges have nothing to do with my behavior at the Capitol. These charges are reflective of what I said before and after. My speech, what I thought about things, what I joked about. That's what this is reflective of. And so that's what we're up against right now. We're not quite Canada yet. You know, we don't have Pierre Trudeau wanting to put people in prison for life for hate speech. But this is the beginnings if we don't stand up against it.
So it was in the first audio soundbite. I beg your pardon. So yeah, he's saying there's a guy there for a felony standing right next to me. He's not shackled and chained. I've done nothing. I was put in here because of what I said, what I thought, what I interpreted, how I explained that, how I reported that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have a free press, what do you have? You don't have democracy. You don't have a constitutional republic. You do not have representation. Welcome to Joe Biden's America. Shackled and chained. And don't get me started about Amos Miller, because we've got an update on his case when we come back. And all of these fires and all of these issues going on with food manufacturing. It just feels so dang coincidental, doesn't it? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. So disgusting. Can you imagine? Oh, you didn't do anything wrong, but we're gonna put you in these shackles anyway.
And I don't even think he was in front of a real judge. I think he was in front of a magistrate.
Yeah.
Like
And they had said, come in. And he's like, I'll come in. We don't need to make a grand yes, they do. There has to have the production. It has to have a chilling effect, right? I don't want to get arrested. I don't want this to happen to me. And then, they expect you to cave.
Send him in front of
Judge Judy.
Correct. I want to tell you about the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh. PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. I hear him in my ears right now, and I love hearing him because what Dr. Richard Rafferty does and what his team does, people fly in from all around the country to be a part of this because avoiding surgery on your spine is a pivotal motivation in my mind. So if you're like the vast majority of us, I think 80% of us before we are all done on this earth are going to have issues with bulging, degenerating discs in our back, our neck. It's just part of gravity. It's part of time. Don't need to have surgery to replace those if you haven't degenerated to a certain degree. And only one person can really tell you that, and that's Dr. Richard Rafferty. 412-906-9600. 412-906-9600. If you go there, if you go to PittsburghDiscInstitute.com and you say, hey, I need to talk to somebody. They will look at your MRI. If you haven't had one, they'll help you get one. And they'll tell you if you're a candidate for 98% successful, non-surgical intra-disc neutrosis. They're amazing. PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. It works. It works.
I think I'm going to get banned on Facebook.
Why? I
forgot to take it off. So someone on Facebook said, why on Facebook?
Oh.
So to set up the show, to be able to type in, you have to set it up with one. And since the only one we have that lets you do it is Facebook, yeah, I forgot to take it off. I'm going to get banned.
Totally. Would you be surprised?
No.
I wouldn't.
No.
Not even close.
No.
So we're going to give you a little Amos here. Leg irons on. Leg irons on. What? Come on. These literally are the baby steps toward complete government control.
Don't try to shame me, Fly Guy.
About what?
Shame you're still on Facebook. Neither one of us really use it.
Well, I don't.
You don't.
I'm locked out. There's nothing I can
I mean,
really
if you
do.
go to my page, you'll see the pet show. I put the pet show up there. And then random stuff, but not. I've pretty much gotten almost totally away from it.
Don't need to be a part of it.
Mm.
Do not want to be a part of it. So let's make sure we have this straight. If you're a conservative and you went to the Capitol on January 6th, no matter if you did anything, you can be trapped, you can be accused, you can be convicted, you can be thrown away and then tortured in the DC gulag with abandon. What's wrong about that? That's disgusting. If you're a journalist and you're conservative, you're one of the few, like I am, who's conservative, unabashedly so. It is a superior mental mindset, I will just say. You can be, as Stephen Baker was from The Blaze, 3 years later, scooped up, accused, rounded up before a magistrate, shackled, chained, and walked for the cameras to see. For what? This is an abuse of government. There are no threats to democracy because democracy doesn't exist. And when you're Amos Miller, if you're a farmer and you're successful without evidence, the state can come after you and try to take away your ability to feed not just your neighbors, but your own family. So that's what this has come down to. I don't know anything about Amos Miller other than what he does, what he grows. As most Amish people do, he's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. As most Amish people do, he likes to operate beyond the confines of the federal government, right? Or the state government. And so for years, they've come after him. We want you to be able to inject hormones and antibiotics into your meat. I will not do that. Well, we want you to get, certain things approved. Your raw milk must be this, must be. I don't want to do that. Well, we're going to come for you. And so they came for him with really weak evidence that somebody somewhere had gotten sick drinking possibly something that he had sold, even though that person had stage 4 cancer and was dying. And there was no definitive proof, no final lab result. Yes, this came from your milk, from your farm. You are at fault. You knew better. Here's your punishment. In lieu of all of that, they go after Amos Miller. They raid his farm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, in Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania. They shut him down. They shut down his fridge. They shut down his freezer. Dude makes everything under the sun and sells it to 4,000 members of a private buying club. There's no direct retail store. You can't go on his website and be like, I want this. You got to be a part of what he's doing, which he's not allowed to really do right now. Here's your headline. Pennsylvania court drops injunction against Amish farmer who suffered from police raid. The Pennsylvania farm is blocked from selling its products commercially. Really? A court in Pennsylvania dropped an injunction against an Amish farmer who suffered a police raid last month for selling milk in violation of government regulations, but blocked them from selling raw milk to the public. County Judge Thomas Sponagel ruled on Friday that the injunction against Amos Miller's farm was lifted following a battle with the state's agriculture department and Attorney General Michelle Henry. The lawsuit alleged Miller's raw milk products had been connected to E. coli outbreaks in 2 other states. Those reports led to a raid of Miller's farm in early January, followed by a lawsuit from the agriculture department. Following the hearing, the judge ruled that Miller is allowed to sell his farms raw to immediate family, but is blocked from marketing and selling those products to the public. The judge also ruled Miller's farm must allow the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture to inspect, draw records, draw samples, and conduct tests, which they did anyway. Before they'd raided him, before they shut him down. The ruling said this court cannot ignore the Commonwealth's regulations requiring a permit to sell raw milk. Now, retail sale of raw milk is illegal in 23 states. Producing it in Pennsylvania requires a license. Quote, for years, this business has brushed off efforts to bring its commercial farm operation into compliance with the law, and all commercial farms are required to do so. Following the farm's raid and the lawsuit, some Republicans condemned the raid on Miller's farm. It ought not just be conservatives. I do not trust my government. My government is not worthy of my trust. I do not believe when the State Department of Agriculture rolls into Amos Miller's freaking freezer that they're actually doing what they say that they're doing. I don't trust their motive. I don't trust their method. I don't trust how they lock him down. I don't trust the results of their tests. I trust nothing. And that's not my fault. It's because they are untrustworthy. And now all of a sudden, we're expected to all believe that what they do is on the up and up. If they can go into anybody's farm and control what that individual is allowed to grow or sell, it's like limiting the number of, how many shots your gun is allowed, how many bullets your gun is allowed to fire. Once you give one tiny inch, ladies and gentlemen, forget about it. It's over with. This is where we are. You live in an abusive government. Facts. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, there's some positivity out there in boys. Next. I couldn't come up with the word rounds. Rounds.
Your government says you can't have a monopoly, but they can.
You're not allowed to make those decisions. We know better than you do. We're not farmers. But we're going to tell you how the best way to do it. Same way with truckers. Same way with the auto workers.
We're not going to put the big guy out of business, who has recalls, let's be generous and say weekly, if not daily. We're going to put the little guy out of business. So you have to buy from the big guy who probably makes enough to, I don't know, fund government and campaigns. I had enough of these people.
I want to tell you guys about this Dr. John Lakey, and I'm super excited that they want me to continue talking about him because I love what he's doing. So he's a world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert. And he also is the creator, the innovator behind a product that I use every day, specifically right here. It's called Photoshop for Your Face. And I think it works. I would absolutely recommend checking out Dr. John Lakey's video that describes what this product does and why it is so effective and why no other product does what this does. He's focused his attention, used to do mainstream cosmetic stuff, a lot of red carpets, celebrities and such. But he says this, it's almost like Photoshop for your face. You may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase your wrinkles from view. His personal clients have dubbed the new do-it-yourself technique as the age rewinder method because it can take years definitely off of your face, and it can do it in a matter of 2 minutes. So what I recommend that you do, if you're interested in learning more, and they sent it to me and I'm like, what? What's this? 7 million plus views of this video. They go step by step, why it works, how it happens. And you're like, aha, I needed to watch that to understand what's going on with this product. Okay. Beverly Hills MD, BHMD1.com/Wendy. BHMD, Beverly Hills MD1, BHMD1.com/Wendy.
Yet another video.
You're going to love
that's
it.
more informative and more views than CNN.
Yes, that's true.
Which video right now doesn't? A dog licking his butthole probably has more.
Wow, a little chocolate starfish talk.
Yeah, right?
Holy cow.
That has more views and is probably more informative than CNN.
George, thanks again for the bell. We love it.
BlackRock.
I can't believe you left yours behind.
What do you mean?
Did you leave yours behind at the old place?
I think it was stolen.
Wow.
I think someone heard when we would hit it when a certain word was said at least 5 to 10 times every 30 minutes.
Wow. Now
I went a little low.
Now look here. That's bullcrap.
Indeed it is.
I'll put on more lip gloss for that. I have an addiction to this stuff, if you guys haven't noticed. How you doing?
An addiction.
Some people are addicted to lip balm. I happen to be. I remember going to do something on Dr. Oz when he was still Dr. Oz. And I had to go, and I guess he was just starting on ABC. And so my local affiliate sent me to go interview Dr. Oz. And his particular episode that day that I sat for the
lip gloss?
it was like legit lip balm addiction. People panic.
Well, I've seen you I forgot my lip balm.
I do.
I remember when you broke your foundation. and you dropped it and it went everywhere and you're like,
because they're expensive and then they're unusable because it's just everywhere.
it was a rough show.
It was difficult, I'll admit.
It was a rough show.
There are some things where I'm girly, and I'm girly about that sort of stuff. So it is what it is.
Really?
I reserve the right to be girly. Not about a lot, but I look like I need more facial color, don't I?
I need more facial.
Don't I need something?
And I'm not using the filter.
I am.
Hopefully Annette tuned in to see that I comb my hair.
Do you want me to hit off the filter?
No.
Good.
Like you would have listened anyways. You're like, you'd have been like, it's off.
No, because you would tell. Well, all you have to do is look at Newsmax. And two, if you look at Newsmax, I look rough. But
well, they don't come do the lighting.
I'm not interested in wearing globs of makeup for them. So and in high schools even. And it's specific kinds of people who are waking up to see that, yes, we live in an abusive government. And unless we want that to change, right, they need to get involved. Well, this is exciting because there are some trends going on, again in the New York Post. This is your headline. And I love this. As a mom of boys, as a lover of men, as an advocate of men, about manly men, strong men, leading men, not emasculated, wussy men who've got to apologize for being strong, for defining the traditional roles that we have as men and women. It is a good thing. And I love men. And I'm an advocate for that. It's interesting to watch my sons. I'm excited that my son Michael wants to go perhaps with some friends and move to another state. Slim pickings when you live in the land before time in a community that is as blue can be, and where the women have fallen for the narrative that is being pushed out there, this progressivism. Why are they so susceptible? Why are the boys not so much? Headline: no wonder boys are turning toward conservative beliefs. It's rebellion against their parents' woke ideology. Interesting idea. Don't know if it's true, but I find it interesting. Can we keep our sons from conservative politics? That is the question writer Catherine Jeser Morton posted in a recent column for New York Magazine's The Cut. In her son's case, I wouldn't bet on it, New York Times columnist Ross Douthat shot back on Twitter, and he's right. So there's this woman, she's got a kid, she's worried about him possibly being taken over to the conservative side. So she puts this out in her column that she writes, hoping that she's going to get a chorus of voices saying, no, don't worry about it. It's all going to be okay. Well, it's not going to be okay. Because America's young men are doing something very intriguing. They are thinking critically. They are seeing what is going on. These are not dumb people. They are smart. Progressive parents desperately trying to keep their boys from becoming conservative rather than the other way around. Teens go against the grain, and the most rebellious thing a young person coming up in this ultra-progressive era, when left-wing politics are shoved down their throats by their schools, by marketing campaigns, by celebrities, the number one thing they can do to tick everybody off is to swing to the right. And this is what's going on. Now, when this woman, Jeser Morton, her concern that her 10, 13-year-old sons are becoming oppressors before her eyes, see, there's some folks who won't be saved. Sadly, she won't. She's right that Zoomer boys are moving to the right. A 2023 survey of 12th graders by the University of Michigan found that while American girls are heading left, their male counterparts are twice as likely to identify as conservative than liberal as they tack toward a new, edgy kind of anti-woke politics. They're done. And I'll tell you what, most boys, I think most kids, will do whatever it is to buck the trend of their parents. But boys are going beyond that. It's not just an age-old thing. They're making a decision. And they're seeing crazy on the left, crazy with the girls in their class, and they're like, what? What are you doing? And they're making that decision. But this is the important part to me, and I love this. There's a study that confirms this shift. It's not just some wacky woman writing a post trying to get people to say, it's okay, you're going to be fine. It ain't okay, sister, because your kids, right? If they've heard it as much as we've all heard it, it's very distasteful. TheHill.com. High school boys are trending conservative. A popular narrative suggests young people are liberal, getting more liberal. Thus, social media buzzed when a chart surfaced that seemed to suggest 12th grade boys had become overwhelmingly conservative. As with many Reddit posts and viral tweets, the truth was more complicated, but the numbers do say this. 12th grade boys are nearly twice as likely to identify as conservative versus liberal, according to a respected survey, Federal Survey of American Youth. Here's what it says. In annual surveys over the last 3 years, roughly 1/4 of high school seniors self-identified as conservatives or very conservative on this Monitoring the Future survey. It's a scholarly endeavor that dates back to the 1970s. Only 13% of boys identified as liberal or very liberal in those years. The figures represent a striking shift in the political views of boys. As recently as the late 2000s, liberal boys occasionally outnumbered conservatives. Back in the Carter era, both boys and girls leaned liberal. Nowadays, it's the girls who are totally, it says, drifting to the left. I'm going to say jumping off the progressive cliff. The share of 12th grade girls who identified as liberal rose from 19% in 2012 to 30% in 2022. Only 12% of girls identified as conservative in last year's survey, administered by the University of Michigan. Young women, too, are trending liberal. Women ages 18 to 29, they're more likely to identify as liberal now than at any time in the past 2 decades, according to Gallup. Young women are almost twice as likely as young men to claim that liberal tag, a widening gender gap in political beliefs. The political leanings of young men have changed little over the past 2 decades, according to an analysis by the Survey Center on American Life. Last year, 43% of young men identified as moderate, 31% as conservative, 24% as liberal. 20 years earlier, the numbers were more or less the same. But the leftward drift of young women alone has sufficed to move the needle on young adults as a whole. Generation Z favors liberalism over conservatism by a 48 to 33 margin, according to NBC News. 10 years earlier, young adults split evenly between the two political camps. The rightward drift of high school boys, though, is comparatively subtle. Indeed, when it comes to politics, most boys seem reluctant to pick a side. In the 2022 Monitoring the Future survey, the largest group of senior boys, more than 2/5, claimed no politics at all. They just I don't want to talk about it. Stop. Nearly one-fifth identified as moderate. Only 36% selected liberal or conservative. But among liberals, it's no doubt the future is female. And among conservatives, the future is male. What does that mean to us? I don't know what it is about young women being more susceptible to the messaging, more susceptible to whatever the du jour messaging is, whether it be about LGBTQ or whether it be about abortion. There are really very few restrictions on any of these things. You aren't treated like a second-class citizen in America if you're gay. If anything, the left falls over itself to accommodate you if you're a T. They'd rather trample on the lesbians, the gays, and go all in for the transgenders. Meanwhile, everybody else is like, I don't really realize I don't really know why this is such an important thing that we talk about. But you're going to also hear it in the Black community. And we might hypothesize here today that it is official, that today's Democratic Party has ditched the black voter in favor of others, Hispanics, Asians. And in fact, you're going to hear a soundbite of that very ilk coming up after the break on a well-known show on MSNBC, where a black man is going to sit up there and say, you know, we need to stop paying attention to the black man. We need to stop focusing on the black man. And let's look where all these other people are. We have all these new people coming into our country. We got lots of Hispanics. We got lots of Asians. Let's pay attention to these folks. See if we can convince them that our policies are better. They have ditched the awakened. They have ditched the black male voter. I believe that this is demonstrable. I believe it's factual. And I believe that the black community is awakening in droves. That this is not a party that cares about the issues in the black community. It is a party that makes life in the black community worse. More welfare, more abortion clinics, more desperation, more destitution, more crime, more drugs, more all of it, with the end goal hoping the big government will always have its hand out to serve. We'll take care of you forever, is the messaging. And much like America's young men, they don't want handouts. They don't want to be told how to think. They don't want to be told how to vote. They want what everybody else wants: opportunity, happiness, and to get the hell out of living with an abusive government. You'll hear this next, right here on the Wendy Bell Radio program. That clip that you found, Brock, on MSNBC.
Yeah,
And then
I'm going to have
woman.
to call you out on that. You said well-known show and MSNBC in the same sentence. There is not one show on MSNBC that anyone knows anything about.
Well, I will say that they clobber CNN in the ratings.
So do we.
So consistently. So, yeah. Well, I know. All right, sorry.
I mean, CNN got beat by, like, what, the History Channel and the Western Channel?
And wasn't there also a cartoon? It was like a rerun of, like, SpongeBob.
SpongeBob or something like that, yeah.
It was a rerun.
I mean,
they're all reruns, duh. It's SpongeBob. And they're kicking the ass of CNN. Aw. Sorry. Hallmark Channel. I could fall for a good Hallmark love story every now and again. Hells yeah.
Oh. Really?
Oh, yeah. I love stuff like that. For sure. Why do you think I like the shows I like? There's always that sweet, like, coming together at the end where everybody's good. No? You don't like them? Well, you probably don't watch that.
I don't.
I really don't either. I really don't either. I don't watch TV.
I have a couple movies I like that would be sort of like along that lines.
Like what?
A Wonderful Life.
Oh, sure.
I love that movie.
That's just traditional values, and for sure, the doing the right thing versus not, and then mortality, all of that. Sure. I think the movies I'm drawn to are almost always underdog success stories where some grave ill has befallen someone and they're this or that. And then through their own ingenuity and perseverance, like Rocky, right?
Yeah, but you've never seen Rocky 4. So
I did
enough
see
with
Rocky
your Rocky
4. I wasn't whatever. I thought it was lame. Whatever. I get it. Watching Sylvester Stallone running around dragging logs is kind of stupid. So I'm sorry.
I feel like I don't even know you.
You don't.
Oh my goodness.
I swear to God, I scratched my eyeball. In the
Okay,
middle of the
well,
night.
quit touching it.
I'm not touching it. I'm just being frustrated by it.
I'm not touching it.
Is this bothersome for the last segment?
No, I think it'd be fine.
All right. I love this. I love that high school boys, I know I'm raising them. And I'm really trying not to browbeat them into this. But they get it.
Well, it doesn't take much to get it. Really, all you have to do is say, use common sense and do the right thing. You're a conservative now. Be a malignant. Beep. You're a liberal.
It's so frustrating when you see how much the people out there who beat their chests about liberty and freedom and democracy and equity and what is right and what is fair are the most unfair, exclusive, toxic people around who believe none of that. Again, it's optics. If you believe in those things, you don't shackle someone who is accused of a misdemeanor for what they've said or what they've written. I mean, we've got thought police now, ladies and gentlemen. We live in 1984. It is real. It is here. And it only happened in the last several years, at least on steroids. But there are voices out there that are super fascinating to listen to. And I stumbled upon this over the weekend. America's black voters are talking the truth. They're tired of being taken for granted. They're tired of all of it. I'm not a piece on your chessboard. You know, I want opportunity for my kids. I want opportunity for me. I want financial freedom. I want all the things everybody else wants. Stop trying to use me and simultaneously keep me down always because you need me under your thumb. The awakening is breathtaking. And especially around this whole conversation about abortion. We can't even have a calm conversation about any of these things because they're used and manipulated for votes on purpose. But listen to this woman. She is a black woman. She's talking about the truth regarding welfare. She's had her own epiphany about all of the main things that Democrats have supported vis-a-vis the black community and how basically all of them suck for the black community. Listen.
They don't got abortion clinics at the border. They're telling us as American women, specifically black American women, we need to abort our children. But if you coming across the border with your baby, oh, come to the land of milk and honey, the great land of opportunity. We'll take care of you. Joe Biden even said, I'll give illegal immigrants coming across the border $400,000 a piece. Can you imagine if they were to go to that black single mother living in the hood, not even $400,000, offer $4,000, because I know some black women that can make something jump with $4,000. Offer her $40,000. You know why they'll never give us that? Because they know that we'll never need them again. Welfare reminds me of an old man I used to date. I was in a relationship with him for 11 years. He would never marry me, right? But whenever my bills were due, I would tell him he would give me just enough. He had a whole lot of money. He would give me just enough. Rent due, $1,200, he'd give me $1,200, not 1 cent over, because he knew that every month the rent was due, that I would have to come back to him. He wouldn't give me $100,000 and say, here, baby, bump that, go buy you a house and start you a business, because then he felt like I wouldn't need him. The government system is the same way when it comes to black Americans. They'll never give us enough to get over and get up. It's only enough to make sure we continue to come back every 30 days so that we can remain slaves to their system.
So we can remain slaves to their system. Amen. All you need to ask of any Democrat, if you're ever in a position to argue with one or have an honest conversation about the use and the abuse of the black voter, is why don't you support school choice? Because the minute you get educated, the way you want to be educated, if that's Catholic, if it's private, if it's cyber, if it's charter, you decide. The minute you decide, you don't need them anymore, but they need you. And here's a man on MSNBC on a panel discussion basically saying it's time we give up as Democrats on the black man because there's other places we can go. Listen to this.
Everybody sits and has this laser focus on black men. You've got Latino men who are working at the border who are like, hey, I don't like these immigration issues. Why is nobody talking about me? You've got Asian American men who are saying, hey, wait a minute, I don't think affirmative action has worked for me. We have this twisted focus on the wrong group of people. No matter if every single black person, and always, you always had 12, 13% of black people who end up voting for a Republican anyway. If every single black man in America who voted for Trump went and voted for Joe Biden this time, it ain't going to change much. I don't think that's true. But a large, I'm telling you, even unless you look at a place like Georgia, right, which is a very, very small margin, but most of those black men, it's not going to end up making a difference. But if we look at Latino men and we look at Asian men, that's where the difference is. That's where the focus needs to be. We have the Democrats have to have, the Democrats have to have a pivot to different kinds of people and stop talking to folks who are 55, 60 years old who listen to what an old rapper has to say because their vote's already decided. It's those 18, 19-year-olds who are working right now at CVS and Verizon who don't see a difference, who are the ones who are liable to either stay home or switch their vote.
Now, the internet gonna be on fire by what you just said about black men.
Yeah, I would say so. It's a twisted focus on the wrong group of people. Was he supposed to say that quiet part out loud? Because now you have put it into words. The black community has been feeling that for years. And now you've put it into words. You have made it real. We need to start focusing on other people. These older 55 plus men, they're off the plantation. They're thinking for themselves. We need to drill down and make sure we capture the youth. I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel like a pawn as a conservative. I don't feel like a chess piece. I don't feel like a means to an end. I feel as though I am a woman, a mother who is deeply committed to the survival of these United States because of the 5 young men in my life I plan to give it to. And the difference between the two sides and the ideologies and the results could not be more clear. I don't know about you guys, but I had my fill of abusive government during COVID. All the things these people get behind and lie about lead to the destruction of this country. I fundamentally am opposed to that. And so are my boys. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I hope you come back tomorrow, same time, same place in 21 hours. Until then, have a great day. Peace.